welcome to our maybe that's a little high, 161st episode of Gorilla Radio. It's going to be a fun one tonight. We have lots to talk
think
about.
so.
We
I
probably
think
could have
so.
gone another hour of the pre-show of just venting and talking about what was going on this weekend, but I said let's go. So we are going to
What
talk
up,
wrestling.
Eric?
Lots to talk about. Lots and lots to talk about. What are we gonna start about on Iron Man? Do we go big or just go right off the bat? Iron Man.
Yeah, let's go Ironman right off the bat. I think we should
Okay.
start at the back end though, for my guy Joe Clark. He's always saying we need to start at the heavyweights.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We,
He brought backup this year. He brought two
yeah,
buddies just in case any anything was happening. So he was under control this weekend. I'll say that. And we'll start with those two. The twins. They wrestled well with 7 practices in.
yeah,
Not too bad to place in that tournament with 7 practices.
yeah. Really, really good. I think they were in the mix. I thought Will. I think his first loss, he just kind of got caught in a scramble. Dude, he's a freaky athlete, man. He's really good. Um, but both two-time placers at the Ironman now.
Yeah. 2 time placers there. They wrestled real well. Actually, Paul beat one of my buddies, guy I wrestled with in college. One of his wrestlers in the blood round. So that was a little emotional. It was fine, but
What?
yeah, it was.
What? He asked you if he's good. And you're like, yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, they're asking afterward. I'm like, yeah, he's pretty good, and I go, he's only had about 7 or 8 practices. Just came on. He's like, wow, but yeah, they looked real. I mean, for what they'd done, and you can tell towards day 2, they started to hit a wall of
Man,
good
let's go to
competition.
Christmas at the Doster house. Dave's still wrapping presents.
Jeez, I haven't
7 days of
started
present
Christmas.
wrapping.
I haven't started
Let's
Christmas
go.
shopping.
Kim did all the Christmas shopping.
Uh,
Um,
maybe I
yeah,
should ask my wife.
I thought those guys wrestled really well, especially for having short. I mean, that's tough, man. They made a deep run. I know. I don't remember which one, but one of them was dealing with some sickness. They were like kind of going through it, and still to place there, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, placing there, without under normal circumstances is not easy, and being sick and just having in 7 practices, that's pretty impressive. Um, and especially, I know we'll say it now that my post today. I don't know. They added number one. It went till midnight on Friday. Number two, they added it was because they added 100 kids, and you when you realize that they added like 100 kids, like 11 of them was 11 that Center Grove brought. They're
Yeah,
adding like 100 kids like that. That's not going to
yeah.
make anything any easier.
Well, I think yeah, I think I know I got some texts. I think they were like, "Oh, Joe's like saying like last year's teams weren't as good as this year." I'm like, "No, I think he's saying this year's tournament was better. It
Yeah,
was a better tournament this year. It's a tougher tournament. Like if you're bringing in individualized people, like there's 109 was it 109 schools represented,
yeah,
and some of them bringing like one or two guys. Those guys, like that, I think those guys were like bringing in really tough guys. It's crazy. There's a lot of D1 guys that didn't place.
yeah,
Like a lot of guys that are D1 level that are in the blood round. That guys that already have deals. So I think that's really cool.
yeah. And I mean, I was talking to Brian Lytle about it, and Krija beating the number 5 guy in the country, then loses in the blood round, and it's like one of those things that, like, dude, we have Indiana doesn't we've been spoiled with Red and Brayton Lee, Nick Lee, Paris, Mendez, all those guys have been the man at nationally, and now we don't
Uh,
quite have those guys, and you have to be a top 5 guy to really even guarantee you're probably gonna place there.
oh, did you get? I thought like that was cool, and I was talking to my brother about it today. Like Blaze, who had just beat Ramos at a college open, didn't win it.
Yeah, yeah,
And like side note, like Ben Davino was almost an Indiana kid. Like that, his freshman year was the COVID year, and Illinois wasn't wrestling as the year Sergio came over. There was talk that Ben Davino was going to come over,
yeah, yeah.
according to my sources that I'm beating right now in fantasy football.
Yeah, and so like, and I was like, and we have a lot of guys I think that are 20 to 30 in the country. I would say we have a lot of guys that with one or two wins or a placement at a Ironman or a Super 32 are going to jump into the national rankings. But that's not going to get you a spot on the podium. Heck, you don't, even if you're ranked 10th, 10 to 15, that's not going to get you on the podium there a lot. I mean, that's not going to guarantee you a spot there.
That's a legitimate, like, probably not even probably that's the hardest tournament in the country.
Yeah.
And like the attrition of it's crazy. Like you guys were going till I didn't go, but like they're going to midnight. They're like wrestling to midnight and then having to make weight the next day.
Yeah.
And it sounded like Ohio had to make scratch on the first day. And
Yeah,
everyone else
that was
got
weird. I did find out that they can't. It wasn't that it was. They can't get any allowances until they make scratch.
uh
So yeah, so that was really that's just weird. And so
yeah.
and since I think this was technically their first week of wrestling, they pushed their season back a week. So I think this was their first official weekend of wrestling. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So none of those guys, unless they had a match, could use that. So they have to make scratch weight before they can wrestle. Yeah. So yeah. So I think they must have been able to get 2 pounds on the next day. I assume. I don't know. It just was. Snyder was
I'd
like,
have been jumping at someone else's line.
yeah. Well,
I'd have been wearing I've been wearing a blue and gold shirt with the Indiana logo on it and everything.
I don't know how they patrolled it though. That's what I'd like. I mean, you have like you said, 100+ teams, and probably half of them, 50 of them are from. I don't know if that's a coach thing. I don't know if that's a. I wouldn't want to patrol it. That's for
No,
sure.
if I was an official, I'm probably giving those guys that pound. There's no way I could be that guy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what I don't know. It was really weird, and like they were not happy about it, and it's like it's some weird rule. Ohio's
Um,
weird.
we should probably like instead of doing places, we probably gotta go by team because 3 teams represent it,
Yeah.
and I think they all competed pretty well.
Yeah.
Just kind of following results, and the easiest way to follow that tournament, probably on flow and track and
Yes.
watching like
Not being there, trust me.
um, so I mean like I guess first year Center Grove goes. I thought they competed really well. I was really impressed with a lot of their guys. They didn't have anyone place. They had a couple guys in the blood round, but I thought Center Grove went there and they really competed at a high level.
They had they had 5 guys make it second day, which is pretty good. And that means they're top 16, top 12. That's pretty good to have 5 guys in the top 16 there. That tells me that they're in the, like I said, 20 to 30th range with 5 of their guys in the country. That's pretty good. So and
Which made it to the second day was Krasia. Krasia lost a heartbreaker. He looked really good. I I know like I just kind of making a joke on Twitter. Like him and May both being runners up. We're just gonna alternate them to the state tournament so they wrestle.
yeah,
But I think Krasia beating the number 5 guy in the country probably makes him the number 1. I think that it's already moved. I'm through like the top 10 in most of the weights.
mm-hmm.
Now the hard part is like uh, finding that like 10 through 20 is always the hardest part. But Krasia wrestled really well. I thought he looked really good.
Yeah. Goss made it second day. He ran into this Hockaday guy from Brownsburg, I think.
Yeah.
Right off the bat as a first match.
Just drive all the way halfway across the state into another state to wrestle a guy you probably could have wrestled, 5 minutes from the house.
Yeah. So that he made the second day. Krasia did. He made the quarterfinals. Had a real good match. Lost 1-0 in the blood round. Just he came close. I mean, he got rode out. Just couldn't get out. Stitz made the second day.
And I know, like we were talking, you were really impressed with Stitz.
Yeah.
You feel like he's really improved.
Went 4-2.
Yeah.
That's not an easy thing to do. Looked really good doing it. And then he got. I guess he ended up getting majored. I thought it was a little bit closer, but you're making day 2 there. I think I don't know where he's at exactly off the top of my head, but definitely would be someone I would be kind of looking if you can slide him up a couple spots. I think that was a good
Yeah.
A good tournament.
I thought he went up pretty high. I thought he wrestled really well.
Yeah. Um, McConnell made it second day. Lost in tiebreakers.
Probably like just kind of getting his legs back under him too. I mean, they lost a round before the state championship,
Yeah,
but uh, I'm sure like kind of getting back into wrestling shape. But he looked good also.
yeah. And then Tyler Schatz, Danny Burgers Jr.
Vogelbach, you said, right?
Yeah, yes. You don't know who Danny Burgers is,
Uh,
Daniel Vogelbach, who is a baseball player. Just Google him. I think he might be Scott's father. I'm not certain, but they
he,
probably share some DNA.
man, and shout out to Shat too. Really good match. Center Grove Cathedral broadcast, great job, man. Those guys
Yep.
did an amazing job. I watched the whole thing on YouTube. Announcing was on point. Shot and Smith, really good match.
Yeah, yeah. Shots tough to score on, and he did well. He lost 1-0. Just couldn't get out on bottom either. I'm sure Coach Swain had them do about 7,000 stand ups today.
But I'm sure like those guys that are riding that monster, that dude's strong, man. You could tell he looks strong.
Yeah, he's hard to score on, and not a it's he's tough. He wrestled Carter Neves from Blair Academy, who is a monster, and battled with him, and frustrated him enough, that he's made him work. So that was he wrestled well. Um, yeah, so even though Center Grove didn't get a placer, I thought they wrestled real well. It's I mean, like we said, it's tough to place there. You're gonna have to be a top 10 guy to say that. I mean, to be able to really punch through, and if you're not a top 10 guy, you're gonna have to knock somebody off that's in that area, and you're gonna have to get a little bit of a draw. I mean, that's how you that term.
Oh yeah.
There's no easy way to do it. But I think
And,
they.
and we talked about this a little bit on the off the air show that can be bought for $59.99. Oh, pay per view rates. Um, you need that NC-17 because I swear a lot more on that show. But I thought he like they didn't bring the full team, so they left some guys at home, which I thought was a smart move for those guys. Let them go. They wrestled at Zionsville, and then those guys that went to Zionsville, I think they were able to compete and do really well.
Yeah,
So I thought that was pretty smart. So how many? They ended up bringing how many? Did they bring? Did they bring 10 or 11?
I think 11. Let me double check. Yeah, they had 11. So
So Klausner won a couple, right?
yeah, so they didn't have a 44, 75, and 65. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they I think everyone on their team won a match,
It's
which
pretty good.
yeah, especially if you run into a shoot, I'm freaking the wrong thing. Especially if you run into a Wash Jesuit kid who, unfortunately, I don't know what you want to call it, has to wrestle in the tournament.
Dude, Chris hit that right. I thought that was like one of the best posts from the Ironman. They scored 0 points, but they probably came with the biggest winner because they probably made $100,000.
Oh yes, that place was packed. I actually, it's kind of funny. One of my teammates from college, his daughter goes there, and he came in on the second day, and he just walked around and ran right into him. I'm like, dude, what's going on? And he's like, yeah. He said they took a half a day on Thursday, and then they had a full day off on Friday. So to just get ready and everything for it.
Klauser and Sonny Sessa both drew the number one seed. I knew Sonny drew Davino like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like that's probably like worst case scenario, right? Hey, we're drawing out of the bat. You get the champ that just beat Blaze, who just beat Ramos, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, that was. I mean, yeah. There's no easy draws there. I don't care where you. Yeah. So yeah, they. Um, I thought they wrestled real well. I was pretty. You're not sure what you're gonna get, especially that first year. There's a little bit of shell shock, but off the bat. I mean, I think they could have won a couple matches earlier on. McConnell lost a 1-0 match in the first round, and then kind of just put his back to the wall, and he wins that match, gets through, wins one or two, and gets himself a little bit. easier of a draw, possibly. I don't know. So it's just one of those things that you gotta you're gonna have a lot of close matches. The margin for error is very small. Yeah, I heard there was an issue at 106 and people wrestled the wrong people.
Yeah.
Uh,
I got to watch a bunch of Center Grove guys. Someone posted the other day that Center Grove wrestled like they're mad at you, and I think they do. They push the pace. They're in your face. Like I felt like I was watching some like early 2000s Portage. I was like, man, these guys are wrestling tough. Um, but like I watched Justice Thrasher. I watched him wrestle on against Cathedral. I thought he wrestled really well. I thought he wrestled really well there. I thought he did a good job. I didn't get to see Jeremiah, but he's wrestling tough matches in the room like every day to kind of get it. I think him and that Hamilton kid are kind of going back and forth. LaRocca looked good. He made it to day 2, right?
I think he lost
Are
it
they
right
all?
before day 2, if I'm
I
not
think all
mistaken.
like 20s, right? Like Haynes,
Yeah,
Gendris, and LaRocca all lost the same round.
yeah, yeah. They were that round to go to day 2. So um,
Don Brown, I think he lost his first one on the back side. We talked about Goss. Courtney wrestled really well. Like another a D1 guy that, like I said, man. Yeah, they brought 2000 Portage into that Hobart room, man. Um,
nice.
and then I mean, same thing with Shot, man. Shot's wrestling, tough matches every day to be in the lineup. Like you got to stay qualifier. You're competing with in your lineup, and kind of talking to some people. Like you could probably like both of those are probably top 10 heavyweights.
Oh,
Nate Johnson and Tyler Shot. Tyler Shot's gonna be a top 5 heavyweight in the next. I think he's like 4 in the next update.
yeah,
Um, and Nate Johnson's probably, I mean, top 10 for sure. I'd have to look at it, and like, there's nowhere for those guys to go. They're just so loaded.
yeah.
Like, I don't know how. I don't have the weigh-in sheet. I don't know how like big, Klauser and McConnell are, but I doubt it. They're cutting down to 190 and 60 or 75.
Yeah, I would say I'd say McCown could probably make 90, but I guarantee Clouser cannot make 75 and
Yeah,
be
I think
effective.
that'd be
And be
tough.
effective.
Uh, and they're wrestling without Weems, who's another medalist that they don't have right now. So
Yeah.
I thought they really wrestled. I was really impressed with Center Grove, especially being the first time there. They got it after it, man.
Yep.
No placers, but a lot of guys right there. Pretty senior heavy team. How many seniors do they have?
I,
2, 4, 6, 7, 8. They took 8 seniors.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8 seniors. 32
So
Stitz and Goss, Don Brown, and Thrasher next year. So, um,
and then Weems will be back next year, I'm
yeah,
sure. And then they have some younger guys coming through, so it'll be interesting. They'll still be there. Hopefully they go back. I thought they competed well.
yeah,
They end up like 19.
yeah, 19th, which is pretty darn good. And
Yeah,
and that's without a placer. That's without the big points of a placer or two. So we'll go in reverse order of placement. Crown Point, uh, young team. It's kind of they had a lot of seniors last year. Had to replace them. Had what 6 placers last
yeah,
year. Um,
pretty good.
yeah,
Not bad.
yeah. With 3 of them returning, 2 got 2 placed, and Reinhardt lost in the blood round 3-1. So I mean that tells you a guy that was in the semifinals, lost in the blood round this year. So I mean that was a little bit, it just that's how that kind of falls sometimes. As we said, the Clark brothers I thought wrestled real well.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they look really good, especially having a week of practice in.
yeah,
Uh, they wrestle tough.
yeah. Gendris lost the round to go to technically the second day, even though it was still the same. It would have been the same day.
Yeah.
Hawkins made it the second day. Um, I
Lost a tough one. Like what he lost, but he got taken down late.
Yeah, I think I didn't see the match. That was up in the dome, and I was down watching the other matches because the other place had 7 mats, so I didn't see the ending of that one. Um, and then Reinhardt obviously made the second day. Reading did not, and then the Clark brothers. So they were a little bit thinner on the second day. Um, Scored quite a bit. I mean, I think they had a couple guys go 0-2, but they're also a young team that kind of needs, they'll be back. They're kind of like how Brownsburg was last year. I was like, I think they're about a year away.
Yeah, and I think you said that like kind of going there.
Yeah,
Um, it's good for those guys to get the experience, but I think they had Newell went 0-2. Newell kind of had like a weird one. Like I think he started a match. Yeah, it's gonna be because they got two more Clarks in the school right now that are freshmen
yeah.
that are waiting. Three more Clarks, but one's a girl. So
Well, well, Newell wasn't even in the bracket to
yeah.
start
So
the
originally,
tournament.
so we're like, did he miss weight? What happened? And then I think they said he missed weight, but then like the official said he had made weight.
Yeah,
So then he gets in the bracket, and then he ends up wrestling a match. They stop it. It's the wrong match because it's like if you listen to the audio, it's like pandemonium in the table. They're just like calling. It's like, is this guy here? Like that's you? And everyone's like, yeah, that's me. They just go out.
yeah. Oh yeah, I had that one time I was running the table and I called like riser, and the kid goes out there and wrestles, and he's like, they come off, it's like, oh no, that was supposed to be my brother. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, no,
Yeah.
yeah,
So so then he like I think they stopped that match, right? And then he has like the dude that ended up taking fourth,
yeah,
like Noble,
yeah.
and
Noble, he
he
wrestled
loses
at
that one.
IPO, I think.
Uh, Shout out to IPO though. Like looking in the blood round and kind of looking who Indiana was going to wrestle. A lot of those guys were in at IPO. Like you can kind of see the results, and I was trying to say, okay, well, this is going to be a good match based on they wrestled these guys here, which is really cool.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Gendris, Lewis and Newell went, they're freshmen. They went 0-2.
Now Lewis won the first one. I think he knocked off a pretty tough kid, right?
Oh yeah, yes, he did. He did win the first one. Sorry, that's right.
Uh, Won the first match. I thought he beat someone pretty solid. Um,
Dillard from Bethlehem Catholic. I don't know if it was a seated kid.
Cats are fighting. If you hear people fighting, man, it's my cats. Maybe not as tough as I thought,
No,
but I thought
Bethlehem
it was
Catholic.
a but good win for him starting off.
Yeah.
Talked about LT. Sonny drew Davino right off the bat, so I believe he was 0-2.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a not a fun draw.
No,
Start your day.
Shepard won. He lost his first one, won his second one. He won a couple, or
You just
I
won
think he
one.
lost the match to go to the day two, right?
I think he was one away from. I think it's consolation round 4. That so he'd have been need to win one more. He lost 9-8.
Yeah, crazy match. Got hit with like a full Nelson. He hit a full Nelson to tie it with like 20 seconds left, cut him, and couldn't get a takedown. Um, but I mean, again, another freshman. So they went freshman, junior, sophomore, freshman. Oscar Baca in the lineup went 0-2, freshman or sophomore. Evan Cruz was 0-2 also,
Yeah.
senior. Captor won a really good wrestle off to even be in the lineup because of a return state qualifier. And then what do you go there 1-2?
Yeah. He went 1-2.
I think he got a pin in one of the matches. Ryan already talked about Aiden White, a senior, went 0-2. Austin Reading 1-2, also a sophomore, so pretty young. But I mean, getting that experience is really tough.
Yeah.
Van Tichel was in Illinois at the Beat the Streets with Crown Point Varsity too.
So Brownsburg, they ended up 11th, and they end up moving up in the team rankings, the national team rankings, not our team rankings. Cash Mays, I guess Dickman had a real good tournament. Ends up 5th.
Dude, he wrestled incredibly good. Like that was he probably wrestled of all the Indiana guys. I was like the most impressed with Dickman, I knew he was really good, but beating Don Moretto, who I believe was number 2 in the country coming into this, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
Don Moretto is a world champ.
yes, and I think he wasn't he the champ at Ironman last year?
Yeah, Illinois kid from St. Charles.
Yeah,
That's a huge win. Like that's a signature win. I would be willing to bet, like if he wasn't on a lot of college radars, like, a win over a kid like Don Moretto probably puts him right in that like hey, like let's go talk. Derek's probably getting some calls today.
yeah. And after his
If
match,
he
he went
was,
and shot 9. I mean, he had this
yeah.
the golf shirt on and made some sales calls.
We is that like everyone's warm up or just his?
Oh, Hockaday had an Oklahoma one on too. I was trying to get a picture, but he was too fast. He was bobbing and weaving. So I don't know. It's like they said they wrestle them. They wear those polos in the practice room to practice every day.
That's awesome. Uh,
Yeah. So he had
Man, it's tough. I think Revan does, but man, you can't count out real. They went 1-0.
yeah,
So like they wrestled Brownsburg wrestled Avon, kind of beat them pretty good.
yeah,
Like Avon's really good, and I'm sure we'll get to that how good Avon is. And Brownsburg kind of beat them up, and they did it without Ison. I know Syra got a win in there, and Ison didn't wrestle. Um, so like you're kind of like walking away like, man, maybe Rio has his number, and then Dickman goes out and takes fifth at Ironman, better placer than he was last year, 2-time placer now.
yeah, yeah. That Dickman and Rio thing. Man, They've wrestled their whole lives together. They're contenders kids. They wrestle now 5-6 times a year, and it wouldn't surprise me if Rio gets one. I mean, they wrestled what dual, conference, sectional, regional, semi-state, state. So they wrestled 6 times last year. They're gonna wrestle
And,
six
and Rio
times
didn't
again.
and Rio didn't get him any times last year, right?
No, no, but they're all close. I think the first one might have been a little bit more of a win for Dickman, but they've all been like 2-1, 1-0. I, Man, it just wouldn't surprise me. I mean, at that level, it won't surprise me if something that I mean, if he beats him at least once, gets him one time, and gets a takedown. I mean, they know each other well. They're gonna try whatever they need to do, but um, it'll be interesting to see. Those two guys going forward. But yeah, Dickman wrestled real well. He in blood round. I think the last 2 rounds, to get to the blood round and everything, he's tough on top. He's real tough on top, and he got a couple turns in those matches, and that's huge at that level. I mean, more than
Oh,
anything, getting those turns is what just set him. I think that's how he beat uh, Murato, whatever his name is. I think he turned him, and that's all you need. Get three
yeah.
pointer.
Um, and then Ison was their other placer. I thought Brady wrestled really well also.
Yeah,
Um,
you could tell he kicked it into high gear when he wanted to. He um, kind of felt that he wanted to place, and then he ends up pinning this guy in the blood round. There's a video on
I think he wrestles a
Twitter.
little edgy too, man. He wrestles
Yeah,
pretty aggressive. I like it, man.
yeah. Lost a couple close ones next 2 matches, but I think he's one that when he gets it in his head that he's gonna go out there and win, and he does it. He lost a 3-2 match in the championship side. So I mean, he could have definitely made his life could have been a little bit easier path. Made the round of 16 there, and a little bit possibly an easier path. Who knows where he would have been? But yeah, he wrestled well. He got that that
Who,
second day. He's like, I'm gonna place, and he did.
who lost the tooth? Ison lost his tooth the
Yeah,
first match?
yes, yeah. He lost his tooth. He
Like a
said
front
it's
tooth?
yeah, his top tooth. He's already. I guess he said been
Uh,
it's fallen out before. So yeah, he had like half a tooth. I forgot to get a picture of that.
Tough tournament, man.
Yeah,
So those are the two placers. I was really impressed with both of those guys. I thought they wrestled really well. I thought Dickman, like I said, man, that win over Moretto is unbelievable. That's a really good win.
yeah. Hockaday was in the blood round again. Um, man,
I
that
thought, and we talked about. I thought he got robbed. I thought he had 2 takedown, 2 back
yeah, I
against
did too.
Gibson. And Gibson's a top 5 guy in the country.
Yeah, Yeah,
That
Gibson was what, like seventh.
the last like 30 seconds of that match, the scrambles and the attacks, and then the overtime was unbelievable. If you just fast forward to the end of that match, watch like the last like minute of the match, and then the overtime, that was worth it enough. That was really good. And kind of precursor, they get to do it again this weekend.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Awesome.
Most possibly get them this weekend, so that'd be fun. Maybe it'll be broadcast on IndianaMat. We're working for
Try to
free.
do some stuff.
Yeah,
So Hockaday was a day two, wrestled really well. Congratulations to Jake. Um, Committed to
yeah.
Oklahoma.
He officially told me, so
And I see he's on Twitter now. He doesn't have a lot of followers, so if you guys want to go follow Jake Hockaday on Twitter,
yeah. Um,
get it,
Brewer,
get
go
his
ahead.
numbers up. Brewer wrestled really well.
Yeah, Brewer Russell. He made it the second day.
I
That's
believe he beat a kid that beat McConnell, correct?
yes, yeah. I think they would have wrestled if he had have won that match there. Uh oh. You get a notification that Kyle Joseph Ayersman mentioned me in a comment. That's cool. I think that's Parker Reynolds was one away, lost a 1-0 match. He's still, I mean, he wrestled well. He's still kind of figuring some things out, obviously, but he's one that's gonna keep getting better and better.
Also a monster on top.
Yeah,
Uh, really good on top. Wrestled really well. I think his match that he lost was real tight. It was 1 point match, right? Was it one
yes,
zero
yeah,
one?
1-0 match. So, I guess we'll start to go from top to bottom. Cash Mays 2-2. Pretty. I mean, he wrestled well. He's one match
Yeah,
from making day two. Um,
I was really impressed with Cash Mays. I thought he wrestled incredibly well.
yeah. So
Like
that's
I thought, like, and I'm not gonna like for rankings wise, I thought he was kind of like a toss in, just kind of a guy that filled in, but he wrestled incredibly well. To get 2 wins there is really good.
yeah. Dickman obviously. Preston Haynes was 2-2. He defaulted out of his last match. Um,
There was a
he
possibility, like if him and Laraka would have won, they would have had a state championship rematch in the blood round.
yeah, yeah. So they I know he's going to be kind of on a pitch count, match count a little bit. So he's he won two matches on the backside. Was in a good he was in a dog fight and just kind of you could tell he's injured. Obviously, there's not a. I mean, it's not a secret by any means. It's not hard to tell, but so then Braylon Reynolds, freshman, tough freshman, ran right into Seth Mendoza first round. So Mendoza got his share of Indiana kids, and then won a
Uh,
match on the backside and then lost one in overtime.
yeah, he got to wrestle Reynolds and
Yeah,
Hawkins.
yes.
68 million deferred is crazy.
Oh, he okay. That's what he said. I'm sorry about Shohei.
Wise, I thought he was kind of like tossing. So you're not going to see Shohei at the Cubs convention.
Yes, I will not. So I might still make it to the to Crown Point and Mount Carmel.
What
So
was it? Dude, they had a breakdown. They said he's making like $2.22 a second.
yeah, well, they just came out today and said that he's only making 2 million this
Yeah,
year and he's deferring it like
I think
till
it's like 2 million for like the first like 5 years or something, right?
yeah, yeah, which is I don't know. It sounds really creative accounting as they call it.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah, Braylon Reynolds, real tough. Also, another freshman there getting some experience. We talked about Ison Parker. Tommy Gibb wrestled really good. What did Tommy?
Tommy went 0-2 actually. He lost a 1-0 match. Um, I guess I didn't realize he went 0-2. So him and Mason Day both went 0-2. Focus. Yes. Um, Gibbs was in them. They were both in good. I mean, they both lost 1-0 matches. So obviously they're in those matches. Derringer won one match. Gunnar Henry won 1-2. He was one match from making the second day. That's the kid from Corner Canyon, Utah. That he wrestled was a freak. Like you could tell he was pretty strong the way he was wrestling Henry. And then Forrester won a match, and then Drew into the number one seed. I think he really needs Forster. The biggest thing he needs is just to get in the weight room. He looks
That's
so
what I was
weak and
thinking, man.
strong, man. Weak. I mean, it just man,
Yeah,
you need to do
if you
some
go
push
back to
ups.
watch it match,
Yeah,
the match he lost on the front side, like go listen to the table help. They're like, this is gonna be a great match. Like, well, this guy's they're seated pretty high, and this guy's not. They're like, that dude looks like a grown man. This is huge.
yeah. No,
Um,
super nice kid, and he's gonna. He basically lost 2 years due to injury, so he's a junior, but really a freshman. Experience wise right now, and he was pretty good younger, wasn't he?
yeah,
So,
yep.
so I think you're gonna see him. He's gonna probably come in and do like especially on their schedule, probably with about 12 losses. But if he's, don't be surprised if he's at state. I mean, they're gonna get him tuned in, and I think they have some decent heavyweight coaches, not
He
named
wears the
after
heavy
Skipper.
for shirt. Yeah.
Skipper was having some issues. I'll tell you those after he had to change his clothes for the second day due to some issues of stuff. So, um, yeah. So
Shout
Ironman.
out to go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Also, we had two females from Indiana like place at the Ironman the next day. Rhea
Yes.
Murphy won it
She
at
got
100.
second, didn't she?
Did she get second?
Yeah, but I believe she got second. Let me double check. Um, I thought she got beat in the finals. Ooh,
And
never
then
mind.
and then Mo was second, right?
Yeah, Kendall Mo was second. Women of Iron Man. Yeah, this is the first year they had the women's Iron Man, Iron Woman. Final results. There we go. Uh, yeah, Mo ran into Jacqueline Bouzakis, sister of Nick Bouzakis, who is at Ohio State. And then
And the other brother won it, right?
yeah, um, and Chloe Deer, yeah, she lost to Harrison, which I believe is in Harrison, Ohio. Murphy did 5-4.
So pretty good matches.
Yeah.
Congratulations to them.
So yeah, it was good tournament. It's fun to go. It's just mass chaos for like the first day of trying to see who. Kreisha lost to Buzakis's older brother. So yeah, it's pretty tough tournament, and hopefully we can get some more some more individuals. I don't want to say teams because you don't want to take a full team. I mean, if someone like Center Grove is not taking their full team, you don't want to take your full team. I want to see some individuals there. I mean, I could name off 5 or 10 that I would love to see there.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so that was the big one. What do you
Uh, lot of good wrestling in state, obviously. Trikoff was going on a little tougher. So Trikoff Cathedral ended up being the champs. Kind of shook some stuff up. Franklin beat Cathedral. Franklin's up for a vote in. We'll talk about some of the 3A stuff. But you had Cathedral was first. I'm sure Franklin, Mishawaka. Who else? Lake Central's there this year, so Lake Central that was the top four. A lot of good matches. Like you're getting those results, but like it's kind of cool. I think we talked about it last week. Like they have like a quad of the top four, and then the next eight, the 5 through 8, and then they kind of goes that way. So you're getting kind of matches at your level, and you're hitting some of those guys. So it's pretty good.
I believe one person has won it 4 times. I think it was shoot. I think it was a
David did Taylor win it
no,
or
no, Taylor did not win all 4. I believe
I
it
know he
was.
stopped Steve from winning 4, right?
I thought okay. Let's see. I thought it was the 170 pounder from like same school as Stever. Uh, I don't know. I'll have to find out. I
Very good.
thought it was. Yeah, it was. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. I'll find it.
Um, so lot of good matches there. I thought that you know They had like Zach said, Lake Central, Franklin Community, and Cathedral all split matches. I know someone said it earlier. I think Cathedral is kind of not that they're wrestling like super injured, but they don't have Harden in right now, which is huge points. And taking a medalist out of anybody's lineup is always going to be tough. And I think they forfeited 190 at Trikoff, so hopefully Harden's going to be back at it.
Yeah. Taylor and Zahid Valencia. I guess David did win it. Both won
Valencia
Taylor.
pretty good too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive Valencia gave Steelers only loss was there at like
Yeah.
103 there.
Yeah.
Um, Franklin beat Portage there, so real tough day. I mean, good job. Congratulations to Cathedral. They wrestled Center Grove on Wednesday, and I mean, Center Grove's really good. It's gonna be. I think Franklin wrestles Center Grove this week. I think it's gonna be one of those things. It's gonna be those guys are kind of a tier ahead of everybody. The big we've been calling them the big three. Crown Point, Center Grove, Brownsburg are gonna be tough for anyone to beat in a duel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's going to be the bad thing is you're looking at the rankings and everyone you're trying to compare Avon, Perry, Cathedral for all those teams. You're trying to compare them to the big three, and it's like just put them in their own tier, and then let's figure it out from there because
Yeah,
it you can't compare. You can't justify well this guy they might win two matches. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to it's real hard to really fathom how much of a gap there is between 3 and 4 because
yeah.
it's pretty significant. Obviously, two
Oh
and
yeah.
four just wrestled, and it was about 30, 40 points.
Even like I think you look at a team like Avon, they take a pretty lopsided loss to Brownsburg on I don't know if it was Wednesday or Thursday. It was
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
yeah,
and then go around. Then they go down to Castle and they beat Mater Day.
yeah,
Pretty lopsided.
yeah,
Um, and I mean like that. It makes it tough because the votes this Sunday. So like all these results that everyone's putting in, we appreciate it because it's going to give us the more information we have, the better vote we can make. But like Mater Day is a team that's like right on the outside. So is Avon.
hmm
So head to head, you look at Avon's gonna get in. Now, you're putting. We talked about it a little bit off air, but now you're looking at like Mater Day, Carmel, Penn, Lake Central had a good day.
hmm
You know, um, and that's tough, man. Like a team state without or Mater Day, it could be one of those things.
yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to talk about the team
The,
state vote-ins. That's obviously something big about this year or this week. Let's see.
you want to go to Jim Nicholson? I'm just strolling on track. So if anyone puts their tournaments on track, that's probably where I see my most stuff at. Uh,
New Pal had a good weekend.
yeah,
They beat Greenfield Central on Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those days, and then they beat Roncalli, who was the number one at 3A, and so they're putting a key. They have a real good young team, um, real young
yeah.
team. Uh,
And they have some guys coming up still, and they're also up for voting, right? And
yes,
3A.
yeah,
Um, but what else? Zionsville. I really like that Zionsville tournament. I think there's a lot of good results there.
mm-hmm.
And the Eagle Invitational, right?
Eagle invite. Yep.
Yep. Good day for Lawrence North. Lawrence North had some really big wins. I think they've been doing a really good job. I know we've talked on here about the coaching staff kind of building up that program. Obviously, they're at the top heights at one point, winning state championships in the Reese Humphrey days. But Sean Takersley over Aiden Campbell, Flynn Douglas is also in that weight. And then there was another one. Blake Jones is wrestling well at 38. Was a champ.
Michael
It was
White beat.
Yeah, Michael White had a huge win.
Yeah, yeah. He beat Leach, and then he gave M Ryan a really good match. Um, from what I gathered, he was gave him a pretty good match, a little bit closer than the score indicates there. So yeah, he's one to kind of keep an eye on. I know from an inside source said that he was pretty impressed with him. Um,
Uh, Nate Johnson wanted to. I mean, Center Grove sent some guys there. a mix of their varsity too. It's hard to say JV because like Nate Johnson's probably a varsity guy and 90% of the I bet like most of the people in the chat that's not Crown Point we're probably like, man, I'd love to have Nate Johnson as my heavyweight.
Yeah.
Uh, he beat Justin Brown. Justin Brown's had some really good wins. He's probably going to be in the next update also. 215. Brandon Johnson continuing to roll. Looks really good. 121-11 in the finals for a 215 pounder.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Panola, he's tech ball people, probably just outwork. That's what he does.
Did I love watching him wrestle, dude? Just aggressive, heavy on the head.
Yeah.
Like that's a guy that's really impressive. Emron, we talked about. Blake Wall of Zionsville beat Sean Breedlove. Good win for Wall. Sean Breedlove, a real tough freshman. Maybe go to Ironman, get some experience, but also that's good for him to go there and get some matches that you're going to see. You'll see Zionsville possibly get it Al Smith, Chesterton, Garrett out Al Smith.
Yeah. Bannett from Floyd Central.
Looks like he had a really good day.
Yeah. Nade from Edgewood. Hank Fennick.
Good win because I think Moses Stevenson was about to be in the update too.
Who is? Oh, Moses.
I thought Moses Stevenson from Franklin Central. I did not see all the updates. I only got a couple matches from the Castle invite. I was trying to find more of the results.
They're gonna fax us the results. I'm still waiting for my.
They're on the carrier pigeon. We're waiting to hear from them.
Yeah.
Hank, what is it? How do you say this?
Fennessy.
Zionsville.
Blake Jones, Lawrence North, Vander Lutengarn from Center Grove. I know he's had some good wins.
Yeah, also another guy that is in their lineup that they had go there, which is really cool.
DeMarco over Fielden at 132.
I thought DeMarco looked really good. He wrestled Sonny Sessa on Wednesday. Really tough. I'm not that I'm surprised that he's at 32 again, but I think it's a good spot for him. Won by Tech Fall. Hunter Bannon in that weight also. A guy that's kind of been on the rankings in the brink rankings. Gage Clark's on the watch list. Did we do the long watch list for 13? I know we said we were going to try.
Yes, we did.
I think we're going to try to do that for different weights, just kind of like some of the deeper weights, kind of see where we're at. I don't know if anyone caught that. I don't even know if we said anything.
I thought I put a little bit out there, but I don't know if you got any complaints or.
No, I don't think anyone said anything about it. What the 30? I think we'll do a different weight coming up this week. I don't know which weight.
It'll just be a surprise, whatever Mike tells me to do. Which one? Where he's doing 30. So.
I thought that that 20 through 30 and 13 was really solid though. Those guys, like all those guys have been, semi-state level, really tough. Okay, put it on social media post. John Orman had a really good day. John Orman, a really tough sophomore from Edgewood, beat Tony Kissinger in the final 10-1. I believe he beat Tommy Frazier also. That 120 weight's really good. Max Kiros is a tough freshman for Chesterton. Cameron Baker, real tough junior for Garrett. Richard Rogers, really tough. That's a good one. Semi-state 285. I could probably go. I think I do have like 15 on that one. 113. Isaac Campbell, real tough over Abraham Swarthrow, real tough freshman from Garrett. Sully Frazier. So is it Sullivan Frazier? Because I have it on the rankings of Sully.
Sully. We'll call him Sully.
I like that better. Joe Hamilton. I thought he looked really good wrestling. I believe, did he wrestle Reyes on Wednesday? I thought him and Reyes was a really good match in that Center Grove Cathedral match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hamilton's pretty tough. So if they wanted to change their lineups all the time, it'd be easier to rank them, wouldn't it?
For Center Grove, I actually asked Swain that. and he said like they keep having close wrestle offs. We just keep putting them in there. Um, and then Brock McCartney won in the final by fallout under Minnesota. That's really cool. Update for the semi-state. I could probably get semi-state rankings. I get that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then state rankings. Generally, I try to let everyone get a couple extra days to get some results in, and then I make some mistakes and then I'll fix it. So we'll post it, and then everyone tell me what I did wrong, and then we'll fix it really quick.
Yeah. We'll pretend like nothing
Um,
happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, but Zionsville, that's always a really good tournament. I think that's always one, like, especially right now, because I think you're starting to get more of those football guys back in shape to kind of see like where people are at.
Yeah, it's a good event though for the teams because they get the 5 matches. They do the 2 pools and they get 5 match, and then they kind of cross pool, which is good. So you kind of you know, and it's kind of similar to what the Nicholson does of the pools, which is an absolute just craziness of. I guess it's a really long day, but they it's you get everyone gets kind of knocked down into their level of wrestling, so they can you know do well. So
Uh, yeah, whatever results, if you have team results, if you put them in, that'd be great. All team results are welcome.
yep,
Individual results is generally anyone that's in the rankings, semi-state rankings, or if you're at semi-state, and we do appreciate that.
yeah, just start typing, and if the name's not in there, then they're not in our stuff. Or you can just go to the team's profiles and check them out there.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying, Joe Hansen. I was just telling Joe off the air we need to get someone needs to get new power sign up in the region.
get them to Al Smith. Get them,
Get him in the
get,
Al Smith, man. I know a guy, man. We can get Coach Sandifer on the line. Gets they have enough tough individuals. That'd be awesome.
yeah, we
I
probably
think
can
that
get
was
those
one
in
of the
this
teams
year.
that we recommended last year.
Yeah. Uh, the Nicholson, that's always a good event. I really like the Nicholson. It was an event, when I was back in the good old days of me coaching, in the olden days, it was an event I kind of looked into possibly trying to get into. Uh, Brady Harper won over McVicker, Mississinawa, and you have a um, good mixture of teams. You have Penn, Elkhart, Wheeler, South Bend Adams. Fairfield has a couple guys. Rochester, Jimtown. So you got a good mixture of teams. 120 Schmittendorf over Hartman. Lane Horn won.
That's a good match. I think that's probably exciting. Those guys are both really good.
Yeah. Lane Horn won 126. 32 Vargo over Mock. Uh, Dews won at 38 over Matthew
Man,
Seven and Jake Petros. I think that's a pretty solid weight class.
I think I'm gonna have to get Dews in the rankings. He had a really good win a couple weeks ago, and then still undefeated. Won the Nicholson. I think he's in the next update too.
New Pal's ready to go to Al Smith this year. There's no question they could do well. They're gonna
Oh,
they
oh, they got 5 or 6 guys. I bet that place at least 5 or 6 guys
yeah.
probably compete. Clayton Lundy, Cohen Lundy. I think he's pretty good.
Yep.
Elkhart.
Harper over Wyatt Davis.
Uh,
Um,
two state qualifiers there. Good to
yeah,
see Wyatt Davis back in Rochester's lineup.
yeah.
And I think he was out last year.
Whitcar from Elkhart over Scott from Penn. No, Scott's
Scott
pretty.
Scott looked really good at the Harvest Classic.
Mm-hmm. Brant Beck over Leonardo Santiago of Penn. Penn has a lot of new faces in their lineup this year. I can tell. Guys are like,
Oh
who's
yeah.
this? It's a scary thing for teams like Penn. Penn and Carmel always bringing new guys and faces in the lineup, and they make 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 noise early on.
Uh,
It works. So nice.
England
Uh,
guard won it.
yeah, 90. Vinny Freeman over Brecken Moran. I heard that was a really really good match. And Cole Weiland from Rochester is pretty solid too there, so that's pretty good weight class. Um, Freeman's pretty good, and Moran I think's gonna he dropped down from 220. That at Fairfield they're 220 and they're 195. Both switched weights. and there may be someone Moran is related to that was a former state champion. Won't mention names. I won't give him. Won't out him. And then Deming over Gratzel from Jimtown, and then heavyweight Beck over CD McPhee, and then Brody Brown there. McPhee, I've heard some good things about him. I think he's going to be kind of a raw talent, a heavyweight prognosticator from just north of here. Was very impressed with him at freshman sophomore state, so
Hmm.
keep an eye on him. I think I have him as it's a core. I don't want to mispronounce it, but he's in the database.
I like CD though. That's a good name. I'll
Yeah,
remember
it's a
that.
lot easier to pronounce than the name we have in the database, which is
We get it's easier when we get a lot of obviously OC, so everyone remembers OC when they talk to him.
yeah,
Um, but when they say Oceana, they're like Oceana. It's like it's easier, just call me OC.
yeah.
So
Quarter
that's always a good day.
Cordarla, Cordarl. That is his first is what it's in the database as. So yeah, New Pal will be at. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Anything else from this past
Uh,
week? I guess.
TC. I mean, and it's kind of gonna lead us into Team Garcia over J Mill for Poster Hall of Fame. Dude, I told Joe we should start a Poster Hall of Fame. And we should do an awards banquet at the state finals every year and nominate someone for the Poster Hall of Fame for the bad side and the good side.
The heels and the I get what do you call it? The baby faces and the heels.
Yeah, the faces and the heels.
Faces and the heels. What do you consider Garcia though? Because he's kind of
He
played both.
plays both. Yeah, he kind of plays both sides of it, right? He's become more of a face over there. He had the like double turn. For a
Yeah,
little bit, he was a heel, and then he came in. Now he's a face.
yeah. So where do we put? How do we categorize him?
I mean, like how many times? It has to be like a band, like a number of bands.
Yeah.
How many names have you had banned from the board?
Yes.
How many different?
And if you created an alias that was the most obvious alias ever, that everyone still knew who you were
Yep.
when you got banned.
Um, um, so I guess we can kind of take. So Tom Cameron, Hobart was there. I know Johansson's in here. They traded some wins and losses up top. I know they're kind of fighting. So we'll kind of talk about all these 3A teams that are up for the final voting, which is making it incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
So I think, first and foremost, like New Pal over Roncalli. Roncalli's already in. They were the number one team. New Pal beats them. They're a vote in. I think everyone was like saying like Floyd Central's a lock to get in, right? And now like New Pal's almost locked to get into the 3A voting because they just beat like the number one seed.
Yeah. Yes. That's gonna be one. Let's see. Columbus East beat Franklin last week, 40-19. So, and Franklin's, we'll talk about that. We'll go over a little bit of the resumes. Let's see what else.
And this is like, and let me like start with like, and if you're new to the site and you're new to the show, hey, welcome on. But like, the system is, I don't want to say it's a flawed system, but it's not like the perfect. Obviously, they're not going to be able to wrestle everybody, and like it's a prediction of what it's going to be. And obviously, you're dealing with high school kids, and you don't always know how it's going to go next year. So let me start this whole 3A talk with that.
Hey, you never know, and also you never know what. Like, I mean, I know that one of the teams lost a couple people due to transferring.
Yeah,
and you, I guess what you can't predict that, and you can't predict
no,
the team that gets those people into their lineup. I mean, just like Floyd Central, for example, May they got some points 2 years ago because May was on their team, and then they lost him, and then this year they didn't get any points for him. If he would have been on their team last year, they would have been in, and Columbus East would be sitting on the outside.
yeah, and then we'd be having to like vote those guys in because last year they were voted out. They weren't voted in last year, and it was like they wrestled Greenfield Central early in the season. and Greenfield Central beat them. And that was like, hey, like this is the head to head, like this is the way it is. And I think we only did one vote in last year, right?
Yes, this year it's two.
And who was in last year that ended up dropping out? Was it New Haven?
I believe New Haven. Yes.
And they dropped out, and we got Columbus Easton, and they went to the championship, right? They're runner up,
Yeah. Yes.
and they weren't going to get the they weren't going to do the vote in. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but it's tough because man, you have a team, and I'm just not the sugarcoat. Like Fort Wayne Snyder, like yes, with Diaco Ponvisi, who's probably would have been number one at 175. I'd have to look at it, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he would have been pretty highly
Yeah.
rated, and he's really good at wrestling. I watched him win college matches this
He won
weekend
like 3 or 4 college matches this weekend.
as a high school junior.
Yes.
Um, he's really good. And but losing those points is incredibly tough. And if you took those points away, and let's just say you gave them a semi-state level kid, I don't know who their backup is. I have no clue what's in their room. That probably knocks them out of the race.
Yes, because that was a really tight race. They got in by 4.5 points. So
Comma
state
to
runner
that,
up.
yeah. Comma to that, they also lost their head coach. With that also going, lost his daughter, who was a Al Smith champ, state qualifier. Um, that those are huge points. And I'm not saying what anybody should do, but that makes it incredibly difficult. And I'm not the coach at Fort Wayne Center. I don't know the coach at Fort Wayne Center, but that is really hard because you put that in your schedule with the idea that those guys are going to be there and then they're not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
Yeah. So that's a tough position to be in. I know, some coaches have done it in the past, so you never know what's going to happen there. They
Right.
did. I mean, in a little bit in their defense, they do return their heavyweight, who was a semi-state qualifier,
Yeah.
was not in their lineup. Either way,
And he's really good.
you know,
He's really good.
yeah. So, I guess let's just dive into, I guess, the biggest ones in. Whew, man, this is going to be 3A. You could go 12 deep.
Oh yeah. And
Um,
it used to be what did it used to be? 10 deep? And then
uh,
they did the 8.
they did 12 when they had 3 classes.
Okay.
Um, and then, yeah. So, let's see. Dane just put out some new rankings. And
And
they do
Dane,
have.
hey man, Dane's a saint. And I did he put so much time into this, and Dane is like, I think that I have a pretty busy schedule. Like I do a lot with softball. I do a lot with obviously we talk a lot. I do a lot with wrestling, and this is like the busiest time. And I also work. I also have a career that I do that's not either softball or wrestling. I coach 2 softball teams. I do this. I feel like I'm pretty busy. Dane like is doing broadcasts. He's doing live shows. He was like writing for the paper. He's like he's a teacher. Like dude is a saint. And like when he puts his stuff out, I know like I affect a singular person and maybe their family, right? Like a single person, a single Joe Caprino is going to be pissed off at Mike Reiser, and that's fine. I can live with that. Dane has to like upset entire communities. Like
Yes.
entire communities are like, you don't know what you're doing. How could you do this? And I'm like, dude, his rankings are always really good.
Yeah.
So Dane's a saint. Let me just start by saying that before we go into this.
So,
4A and let's do 3A, then we'll get to the 4A because I
yeah.
think 4A. Um,
3A.
so the teams that are in are Mishawaka,
Mishawaka, Terre Haute South, Roncalli, DeKalb, Snyder, and Columbus East. So looking at the team rankings, number 1 Columbus East right now, and it's probably going
because
to change this
they're
week
always,
because 3A is just a crapshoot right now.
but they're always in the mix, and Coach Cooper does a phenomenal job.
Yes, they
Like
do.
he reloads every year, and you'll be like, "Who's this kid?" And then they're in the ticket round, right?
Yeah. So they're number 1 right now. They lost to Perry by 1. They lost to Brownsburg. They beat Franklin 40-19, beat Carmel 39-29, and beat Greenfield Central, which that's another team that is on the outs trying to get in. So that's their kind of resume. Floyd Central is number 2. They are not in. They lost to Avon 41-33, beat Greenfield Central, lost to Warren Central, lost to Cathedral. They did beat Cascade. I don't think they have much. I don't think what they have this weekend. This weekend they're at the Eagle Invite. They won the Eagle Invite. They have Bloomington South, and then that is all before the final vote. So they have Bloomington South this week. Probably hoping for a. Is that not a? That should be a match to come. Anyway, um, that's one that they probably need to kind of hang a good number on them to impress the voters. So then New Pal, not in. They beat Monrovia. Roncalli, who was number one last week, and beat Greenfield Central. Lost Center Grove, and then
Which you got to throw that one out the window, man. Center Grove's going to beat a lot of
Yeah,
people.
yes, they are. They're going to be at the Henry Wilk this weekend, and that has Penn, Mishawaka, and Columbus North, Snyder, who's at Team State, Goshen, Homestead, Glenn, and Penn. I don't know if I'm sure I said Penn. So that's going to be a good, that'll be a good indicator of kind of where they stand, especially when you're going to have a Team State team like Mishawaka there.
Yep.
So that's their resume. And then Roncalli's in. Franklin Community is not in. They lost to Lake Central. Beat Mishawaka, who's in. Beat Cathedral. Beat
Yeah.
Portage. Lost to Columbus East. Lost to Gray.
Cathedral's in 4A.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's their kind of Greenfield Central. They're ranked 7th. They're tough. They're real tough.
Oh, really good.
Yeah, they beat Carmel pretty bad. They beat Warren Central. They beat Delta. They've wrestled a brutal schedule so far. I don't know why Triton Central was a significant result, but it is. Someone must have accidentally done that. But I mean, they've wrestled. They lost to New Pal. They lost to Floyd. They lost to Cathedral. They lost to Avon. They definitely have the strength of schedule right now, to say the least. Unfortunately, they're going to be out. I mean, there's no.
Yeah, because you lost to two teams that are contending, right?
Yeah. The only
and that's hard.
Yeah, the only way they would get in is they would have to. There'd have to be two teams that drop out. I think. I don't know. I think Franklin's a little bit ahead of them based on some commons and head-to-heads.
Yeah, I mean Franklin giving up forfeits or Cathedral giving up forfeits. Does it change the result at 20? Maybe it does at 90. Now with Kenny not there, or Kyle not.
Yeah, Kenny's not wrestling.
Kenny, if it's a cook-off, it's definitely not changing the right.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you got Hobart.
Yeah.
Who they don't wrestle. They only have 7 matches. They lost to Harrison, beat Plymouth, beat Lowell.
Which I know breaks my guy Zach's heart.
Yeah. And if they wouldn't have lost to Harrison, they would have been able to wrestle some different teams this weekend. So that kind of hurts them. They do have a good week. The Hobart Super Duel. Don't they have McCutcheon? Who's all there?
I think they wrestled McCutcheon this past weekend, right, at the Tom Cameron?
No, they didn't get to. They didn't advance that pool.
Lake Central will be there.
Yeah, Lake Central. Yeah, Lake Central will be there. That'll be a good feather in the, if they can beat Lake Central, they might. They have a little bit of a case. They just don't have. Unfortunately, those Indianapolis area teams have wrestled. They have some common opponents, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's and we kind of talked about it. It's crazy that there's only 2 teams from the East Chicago semi-state that's being represented, and I don't think that everyone's always going to travel out east to wrestle all those teams that are already in to show hey we can play. We can't go to Jay County Regional every weekend. But Greenfield over Franklin, but Franklin has a win over Cathedral, who has a win over Floyd.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like I mean, that's going to be the argument. I think that's the argument for Franklin is that they beat Cathedral. Like
Yeah.
they, whether it's with 2 losses or not, right? Like they beat, or with 2 forfeits or not, like they beat Cathedral. I don't think 120 changes the duel. And unless Kyle Harden's wrestling in both those duels, because the same lineup, they had 2 bodies in there, but it wasn't Kyle Harden in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it'd matter if it was like something significant that changed in a head-to-head duel, right? Like if I think if you said, "Hey, we beat," I don't know, I can't think of like if Kyle Harden wrestled against Floyd and didn't wrestle against Franklin, I would say yeah, then I think that's huge.
Yeah.
But I think Floyd got a pin at 190 and Franklin got a forfeit at 190.
Yeah.
And like I think the hard part is like then what's to stop someone that's in the mix and say, well, I never wrestle my full team. We're always half a team.
Yeah.
Well, I got 6 more guys I'm actually gonna bring in next week. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I think that like that was kind of the argument last year was like, well, we weren't at full strength yet. Like okay, but I could always say that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You.
I think there's teams that like aren't full strength until I know Johansson put Jalen May is going to be a contender at 113. Maybe he's not competing right now. Like I think he will be, but like I don't. He's not contending until he's on the mat, right?
Yeah. So you see him on the mat, he's not there, and it's hard to. You can't play the what if. Well, we. He didn't make weight. He didn't. He's been sick, and he
Yeah.
hasn't. He
Oh,
had 7 practices. Well, he went
dude.
on.
Joe, you're part of. You could see the private messages I get. Like, how many times has someone in the rankings lost because they're sick?
Yeah.
I would tell you, it happens a lot less out of the top 10.
Yeah.
A lot of the past 8, those guys don't get as sick as much as the guys 8 through 20.
They have better immune systems, I guess.
Right, and that like and it's unfortunate, and especially like the smaller the classes, and this is just the nature of it. I think that's the beauty of the tournament. Like this, like the 1A is going to have a harder time replacing a top guy with a backup than a 4A is going to have.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about at nauseam about Shot, and if God forbid Shot got hurt, like they have a Nate Johnson. I'd be willing to bet, like at the 1A, if like Rochester lost somebody, right?
Yeah.
Or whoever, they probably don't have a state qualifier waiting in the
The East beats Perry, yeah, and you gotta.
and that's ifs and buts, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not like saying like that's wrong or right, but it's still wrestling. There's a lot of wild stuff that happens in wrestling. We've seen a lot of like things that like we knew 100% was gonna. Dude, I would have bet you a lot of money last year in the semis that Frazier was gonna win, and I think that we looked at the pick'ems, and 99% of the people did not. Even people that we know are strong Newcastle fans did not pick Thrive to beat Frazier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, but who has been wrestling heavyweight for them? They didn't wrestle any heavyweight that day. They did have a heavyweight against Franklin. So I
I
mean,
think it would have to be
actually
something.
Columbus East versus Perry really doesn't matter because Columbus East is in. So
Yeah,
out.
like it comes down to and one they've been dude like the IHSWCA has been incredibly good about listening to people and what they want for the event.
Yeah,
I think that's like one of the beauties. Oh, you're about to see my cat. Sorry, he's telling me it's time to go to bed. You gotta go. uh, but I think it's they've done a really great job of like, hey, we want it. Like when they were changing it over, they're like, well, we're gonna take 8 from 1A, 8, and they're like, well, we want more, right?
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, we think there should be 12 in 1A, and they're all right, cool, then we'll do 12.
Yeah, yeah, they've done a real good job modifying it and make it. The 4A thing was really good. 2,000 students or more, and they've manipulated. I guess manipulate might not be the right word, but the classes to make them not make them as wide. Uh, you know, numbers, and they adjust it every year. So there's some teams that flip flop and stuff. So yeah, they've done a great job with it and continue to make modifications. I know they listen to us sometimes, the people that are in charge there, so that's good. And we
Yeah,
always we'll offer opinions. Sometimes they're not the best ones, but I think last year the suggestion was, why don't you just go to 2 vote-ins?
yeah,
And they're like, sure, why not? I mean, they don't have to. The good thing about them is you don't have to go through the, I guess, bureaucracy that you do when you have to make a big change like that with the IHSA. You just do it, and so I mean they have to go through some voting and stuff and talking about it, but
and and it's incredibly tough, and it's like not the most perfect system, but dude, Maligned put together a formula that's pretty accurate. And I know in the past I've been like critical of some of the decisions, but like I'm not doing that.
yeah,
I'm just being a critic. I'm being the voice of the people, the masses.
yeah. So
um,
so it's Floyd Central, New Pal, Franklin, and I'd say probably Hobart are probably the
yeah,
four in the voting realm there. It's to me, I think New Pal's in. I think the win over Roncalli 44-22. I think that gives me, if I'm voting, I'm not on it. I think you are on it.
I
So,
am on it. I don't take bribes,
but
um, but I will listen to complaints. Yeah, like what if you have B South? We get like a big like B South's up for the voting too.
yeah,
You know, um, Plymouth has some really good guys. Lowell's wrestling well. Hobart has a good win over Lowell, who was in the mix. And dude, like it's tough for Lowell. Lowell lost some really good guys. There's probably 4 guys in Lowell that Lowell lost that would have made an impact, including Evan Stanley, who was at Ironman, was beaten an Iowa commit
yeah,
and ended up getting pinned like the final 30 seconds.
yeah,
Um, Don Brown, who was at Ironman and won matches, was a Lowell kid last year.
yeah,
Dieter Gerst had a really good freshman sophomore. Is not wrestling right now. Like I think those are guys. Quentin Buckmaster, they held his eligibility. He was a transfer from Key Valley, really good. I mean, they could. That's all the ifs and buts, right? Like,
yeah,
well, we could have had all these guys, and like, and they're not saying that, but like, dude, New Haven's a team that's in like up in the voting. They added a state qualifier, no compo. They had 153. I would be willing to bet Ocampo's points would probably put him close to 160.
yeah, yeah, definitely. They'd be right there, and then on top of that, they added a new Ocampo's little sister at 106, who's pretty darn good also.
Had a nice win over Ben Mills this weekend
Yeah.
or this week.
So, so yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. I know Franklin has some. You have 3 top 5 teams that aren't in the at team state. I would call an emergency meeting and say, let's do 12.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much longer. Like, and I'm not.
Or
That's
10.
not.
You can do 10. I guess you can do 10. I mean, I could see. I mean, why not just do 12? You'd have to add what? You'd have to add 6.
Yeah. Like,
You
I
can
think we
add
could pull
4.
6 teams from there.
Yeah.
Like, how much longer of a day would it make it? I mean, Franklin hosts it.
Yeah.
We could strong arm them. Tell Coach Tante, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want in? We need to add 6 more teams, buddy.
4.
No, I'm not gonna tell him that. I
There's
like that guy. I don't
5.
want to be mad.
Is McCutcheon's not in? So yeah,
Nope.
I mean, and you have that 10th. Well, actually, Plymouth beat them, so Plymouth would be in the talk right there. So yeah, there's 6 teams in the top 10 that are in.
And I like Martinsville too.
so let's. Who's is it? Ratliff that's still
Yeah,
running it.
Greg. I believe so. He sent out the text that we're gonna vote.
Tell them let's go 12. Fuller
Uh,
said that they can do 12 mats there, so or they can do enough mats, so let's do 12
is
there.
that? I mean, like, how much more does that put on the officials?
It shouldn't because the way they run it, you're only going to use 4 mats anyway at a time.
Yeah. So I mean, that's not. Cook is here listening. Like everyone wants to go to 12, man.
Yeah, do it. Let's go.
Yeah,
Well, he's in Ohio. I ain't afraid no Ratliff. So hey,
Uh,
let's see. Let's make it happen there, Cook El Presidente. Do I need to
I
call Pendowski, your vice president? Does he run the show really?
I think yeah, I agree. Martinsville's good too, man. I think
Yeah.
Martinsville's like and they're getting better. Every time I see Martinsville results, I'm like really impressed.
Hey,
Like
we go to 12. We can have a pretty darn. I mean, adding 6 teams. You're gonna get some good arguments. I mean, I think yeah, like you said, Martinsville, McCutcheon, Plymouth, um, Bloomington South. So he's gonna be good.
yeah.
Um, I'd have to see. I know Bloomington South was up there pretty high. They've dropped a little bit, but yeah, let's see.
So there's 6 in now.
Yeah, there's 6 in
Floyd.
now. So
So the next 6 on the list would be Floyd, Greenfield Central, McCutcheon. But you said McCutcheon lost to Plymouth, right?
yeah,
Uh, New Haven, Hobart, Bloomington South, New Palestine would have to come up. So like you'd be like kind of going back and forth about that like that last spot.
yeah. He'd be just as hard as we are for the last spots here.
Yeah.
So
I think
so we
this
got
is
a
like the.
solution. We've made it right.
I think this is like one of the rare times like, and I don't think this would happen all the time, right?
Yeah,
I don't think this would happen. Sorry, New Palestine. Like this wouldn't happen all the time, but I think this is like one of the years you could probably go to 12, and I think the next 6, the champ might be out of the next 6. I wouldn't doubt if there's a top 3 team in the next 6 guys there.
yeah. I'd have to do the analysis, but the way this 3A has gone so far this year, Dane's just like I think Dane's just drawing him out of a hat at this point.
Dane needs to do the top 30 of the
Yes,
3A,
yes,
right?
yes, he does. I mean, he could. I mean, yeah. Well, we'll put that on as a suggestion too.
Yeah, that's what I'm not gonna get. But I think if you have those guys in, and like I'm not here to tell people that they should drop out. I don't think that's fair to the team, and it's not fair to the guys that are there because there are some really good kids still at Fort Wayne Snyder.
Yeah,
There's like Dick Caleb has some really good kids, right? And I think that like I don't want to say, well, like I think that someone like Tyler Ton shouldn't get an opportunity to go wrestle some of the best 3A kids because I think he's really good. I think they have Ethan Dotson, a heavyweight that lost his semi-state last year, is really good. I think that I think that they already made that on the schedule. They were in. Let's go. But like now you're looking at like some teams, bro. I want to see. Honestly, I would love to see New Pal and Hobart, 123, 144. They're pretty good there too. I think those are good matchups.
yeah.
Those are matchups I, as a fan, that's what I am first and foremost. Like I would enjoy to see.
You know what else I'm pissed about? That
What really grinds your gears?
that they're on 4 different locations.
Yeah. But we
Fix
talked
that
to
too.
Brownsburg last year, right?
Yeah,
Like the AD at Brownsburg, what was it? The superintendent of the AD
yeah.
said that they're building a field house that will be able to host all 4, and they would love to host it.
Yes. So I would be for it. I'm not gonna. It's one of those things I would love to see. I loved it when it was in Fort Wayne, obviously because it's in Fort Wayne, but it's also being able to see those teams, and I guarantee, I would bet a lot of those 1 and 2A teams would stay around to watch a Crown Point, Brownsburg, Center Grove match. I know I would. I wouldn't leave. So I know that'd be kind of, yeah, it's going to be a rough day. I was just talking with someone who was like, man, I think 1A is going to be pretty good. I think 2A is going to be good. 2A is crazy also.
It-
Yeah.
Dude, I'm excited for 4A just because I think the top 3 are. I don't know how it's gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah. So So we got the solution there. Let's do 12. And
I,
the president has said yes. So
I think one of the things, and we were trying to talk about the air, but like this should be a weekend, like this 12-10 weekend, which was my dad's birthday. So happy birthday to my dad. I think is a weekend where you have a tournament like the Trikoff, where like, and I'm not telling Coach Watkins how to run his tournament, but looking at thing and say, hey, like these are the teams that are always up for the bid. A team like New Palestine, like hey, come up there and wrestle Mishawaka and Franklin and Cathedral and those guys, or the Tom Cameron. You have a lot of good teams there, or the Ron Cali Super Bowl where you have a lot of good teams. Zionsville is an individual event, and the teams that are in, I think that's good for them. But like, you should be like, hey, like, if you're a tournament director and you're like, hey, like, this is a weekend where they're going to get a lot of information. It's kind of like the first weekend, like football players are getting practices back under their enough practices to get in. This should be a weekend that you should be trying to like target some of those teams that are going to be in the mix for those events.
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely with the vote in the past couple of years, you've seen the teams really do that, which is really cool to see. I mean, I know I like Hobart's tried to do that, and Greenfield Central, all those teams are starting to, try to make their case. Number one for to get in case they're out, but also to for seeding. Say, hey, we beat this team. So
Yeah,
definitely hats off to all those teams, and I know some lower tier, lower class teams are doing the same thing, and they know that, you know, they're trying to, strategically get their schedules so that they can see those teams that are going to perennially be in the mix. So,
yeah, I think Cook's right. Like, we can make some of this happen. And what's really cool about the 3A, and I have to look at the other way, but those guys are like trying to hit each other. Like,
mhm.
they are trying to like get those matches. Greenfield Central has got Columbus East on their schedule. Like New Prairie or New Palestine is going. Sorry, I'm a region guy. I keep saying Prairie. New Palestine is going to Ron Cali. Franklin's wrestling those guys. They're trying to get those matches. Floyd's down by Kentucky. Like, they're coming up to the Indy area to get those matches.
Yeah,
Like, I think that's really cool, and I'm hoping that's kind of what they were hoping to do, like create some of that competition.
yeah.
All
Greenfield
right,
Central
so
has
you got that one.
9 significant matches right now.
Who does?
As a team, 9.
Who?
Greenfield Central.
Yeah. Butch Holden's doing his thing,
He ain't
man.
messing around. That's for sure. So yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. So yeah, uh, let's do an easier one.
Uh, yeah. I mean, which one do you want to do?
Let's do 4A. 4A is gonna be at least one's easy. Um,
Yeah.
4A rankings. Who's in right now is Center Grove, Brownsburg, Crown Point, Cathedral, Warren, and Perry. So in our top 10, Avon, Mater Dei 4-5 are not in.
And they kind of jumped this past week, and I know like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of back and forth on the board. Like I said, giving my guy Dane some hate, but it's all right. I think he likes it. He's a heel wrestler now.
Yeah.
Avon jumped. I thought Avon could have jumped last week, and then they jumped pretty significantly this week. And they did take a bad loss to Brownsburg, but Brownsburg, Center Grove, Brownsburg, CP, like you got to throw those results out the window.
Yes.
Like those are really those are like super teams right now.
Yeah. And they're. I mean, I'd just rather you almost need a 5A just for those teams. Um,
Yeah,
and just I'd love to see them do a round robin. I'd be there for
yeah,
that, and then have the 4A just wrestle them out. I mean, yeah, that'd be fun. Because
yeah.
unfortunately, we're only gonna get one. We're only gonna get two of those matches. Whoever's the 2 seed's gonna get the other team. So yeah, Avon was 5 I think last week, and then they catapulted. They have 8 significant matches too. They have Bloomington South, Mater Dei, Brownsburg, Floyd, Greenfield Central. They wrestled at Cathedral, Greenfield Central, Warren, Cathedral, and Hamilton Southeastern. So they got some good ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um. So I think they're going to be in. I
Yeah.
think they've done enough. That win over Mater Dei is huge for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the final score on that one?
41-18.
Pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, I would say that's a pretty close to lock. But now then you're basically going through Mater Dei, Penn, Maryville's in the mix, but they probably aren't going to be able to finagle it. So just
No,
go ahead
they
and
don't. They've been invited a couple times and they declined a couple times.
you Zionsville, Hamilton Southeastern, Carmel, and Lake Central. So basically, I would say Mater Dei, Carmel, Penn, and Lake Central. Lake Central had a good weekend. Um,
they had a win over Cathedral, right?
Yeah, yeah, um,
Penn beat them in the individual duel, in the individual at the Harvest.
yeah. And they don't have very many. They only have like 4 duels, and it's
They
not four
wrestled Crown
duels.
Point this week, so
Oh,
I mean,
I'm talking about. Okay, yeah,
if Lake Central beats Crown Point this week, man, I think they that can get them in.
yeah. That would yes. So yeah, they yeah. Lake Central beat Mishawaka, Fishers, Franklin. I should add the since they're two ranked
Uh, they,
teams.
they lost to Cathedral.
Yeah. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah. So they wrestle. Even though it won't be close, it's still a significant match to have. Fun things to update the day. So yeah, Penn's the weird one where they haven't wrestled much yet in
They've done
duels.
like individual, right?
Yeah. So yeah, they wrestled some individuals. They are 4-0, but I don't think that's correct. They beat Elkhart. Um, Lake Central, they won Lake Central. They beat John Glenn, and then they wrestled this. They've only their backups have wrestled a little bit, and that's so they're only like 3-0, and I don't think that's a. I'm fixing the result because I'll just do that while we're on the fly.
And
So
then
yeah,
so I think it comes down to like Mount Mater Day, Penn, Carmel. I believe they lost this past weekend to who they lose to? Greenfield Central.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, they lost to Greenfield Central. They had an opportunity to let's go to the top 20. So that's gonna be easier to figure out. I think they might have fallen out of the top 20 also, if I'm not mistaken. Carmel, yeah, they fell out of the top 20 because Greenfield Central beat them 45-25. So I'd probably say they're probably out of the mix there. Um,
Yeah.
so you're talking Lake Central, Penn, and Mater Day. Um,
What has Zionsville lost any big duels?
um, yes, I don't think Zanesville's.
Because they would have
No,
been at Westfield, right?
yeah, they were at no, they weren't at Westfield. They were third this weekend behind Garrett and Greenfield Central or Floyd Central.
Yeah.
So
So Mater Day, Penn, and Lake Central.
yeah,
I mean, that's tough, man. Those are a tough three. Uh, Penn has a tournament win over Lake Central.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
a
don't know how much.
tournament. Yeah, it's a tournament win. And then this weekend they have the Henry Wilk, which is another tournament with New Pal, Homestead. Like I said, Homestead, Columbus North, Snyder, um, Mishawaka. So no 4A teams there. So they're gonna have a weird resume. I think they're good. They're pretty solid, as I said earlier tonight. They always have some. They bring in random kids, and then they're semi-state level or ticket rounders. They're kind.
They're young too. They have Vargo, who's really good. They have Harper, who's really good. Obviously, we talked about Vinny Freeman winning. Vinny Freeman only a sophomore. He's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't wrestle with what you call it this weekend either. Hollyfield, he wasn't in there.
Okay. So
But I think they're like one of the teams that like mix and match a lot early on. Like
yeah,
you never really know what they're gonna do because they kind of
because
have a
Brad
lot
doesn't know
of.
what he's gonna do.
Well, I mean, I think it speaks to their depth. I think that they have a lot of guys that are pretty even, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, Zionsville Cathedral Friday Night Lights under the spotlight. That will be a good one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, I mean,
Zionsville, that could be Zionsville get a win there. I mean, that could be huge for them.
yeah, they could make a real strong case real quick. As someone this weekend I talked to called Mr. Harper Rad Brad. Um, won't mention names, but he may be in Colorado now, and looks like he belongs in Colorado. so yeah, Penn's gonna have a weird resume. Um, that's gonna be a hard one hard one to kind of figure out what they want to do with that. Yeah, I'm glad I'm kind of not on that vote. And then Mater Day, um, They beat Zionsville, so they kind of have that one up on Zionsville. If Zionsville does, if Zionsville beats Cathedral, that kind of gives them a little bit more of a helps them out a little
Yeah.
bit. Um, they beat Zionsville. They beat a pretty solid Union County team in Kentucky. That I don't know how much the committee will look at that. They beat Bloomington South. Um, they
But Union County without the brothers, right? That was this weekend.
No, it was 2 weeks ago. They wrestled
Okay.
those guys. Um, no details on those because we don't do those in the South.
Yeah,
But
no. Why does the South do that to us?
I don't know. So in Avon, they've wrestled Avon 41-18. Of course, no details on that, so we can't tell. Did it get kind of ugly in a couple places where just the matchups didn't go? Weren't maybe they lost a couple close matches. Don't
I
know
think they were
because
given the
they're not
play
going to
by
put details in.
they were given the play by play. I mean, we'll probably go back through and patch that.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I know that they were given some play by play on the post.
Yes, it does. Oh, Acres. Yes. Yeah. So maybe we'll get that information here soon. But so Mater Day has. I mean, yeah. The difference between Mater Day and Penn is they both have Mater Day. They both have just weird resumes. Um, and you try to throw out. Mater Day is a perennial team that is very good. So and so is Penn. Penn has just as
Yeah,
much tradition. They've won state titles, at least one.
man. That's did I asked that question today? I think you have to declare early, but man, like that's what I said. Like if they weren't voted in for the 4A, could we slide them into the 2A
Yeah.
and get some really old throwback Belmont Mater Day match?
No, Belmont fans would not like that. I'm just gonna say that'd be very interesting. So yeah, that's gonna. There's gonna be a lot of talk on that one. I
So
mean,
the point system had it last year. Uh, the point system last year had a 179.5 for Mater Day, and they lost the runner up. They lost May. So I'm sure May's points would have been significant. Penn's points were 173. I would be willing to bet May had more than 6 points.
um, I want to say. I mean, I could probably go look at the things, but I think. Yeah, I think it's like 20 some. I think the max you get is 25.
I think that 2A right there would be there. You'd have some old timers. You'd bring out some really good old timers for Evansville, Mater Day, Belmont, Delta, round robin. I
Dude,
mean, you cover some decades, man. You're gonna hit the 90s. You're gonna hit the 80s. You're gonna hit the early 2000s.
let's resurrect Muncie South too while we're at it.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have some real old timers, and there are gonna be some real heated debates.
Yeah. Let me see. I bet I can find the. But yeah, I that's going to be very interesting. Just how that sorts it out. Find qualification leaderboards. I know it's under Malign. He always does stuff. Team state qualify procedure documents. I believe it's like 25 points for a state champ. Let's.
Jerry Wirt once said, "We're bringing in the 30s. We're bringing in the 50s."
Yeah. Gary Wirt once said. Okay, so it's
Force man.
24.5 for a state runner up, and a semi-state ticket round is 18. So it's 6.5 points. I'll just give them the benefit of the doubt that
Yeah,
they get a semi-state
so
ticket round
they would
in
be
there.
tied. They would literally be tied, 179.5 and 173.
Okay, so
Nice.
so that makes things easier.
Uh,
so so
so, uh, yeah, so that'll be fun. It's gonna be fun. Someone's gonna have it. There's gonna be people that are upset about that one. That one's gonna be a little bit closer of a vote. But I think Avon has done their work to get in, right?
yeah
Like Avon went out and wrestled the matches they need to wrestle, um, and they won the matches they needed to win.
yeah. So 2A. Let's see. So we have Jay County, Delta, New Prairie, Belmont, Heritage Hills, Wawasee, Western, Hamilton Heights, Monrovia, and Mechaniqua. Wow.
I feel like
So
these guys are all kind of hitting each other early too, right?
yeah, there's a lot of good matchups. They're gonna this weekend. Jay County will wrestle Garrett. Garrett's on the outside right now. I did say Western is in, right? Yeah. Garrett's the highest ranked, and then Oak Hill is um, on the outs. Oak Hill did beat Mechaniqua. They lost to New Haven, who is not a 2A team. I did fix that this evening. Um, they lost to New Haven. Garrett also lost to New Haven. Garrett did beat DeKalb, which is a 3A participant. So, and Mechaniqua is a. So then Heritage Hills is in, right? And
Yep.
Rensselaer
Yep.
Central
Is not.
is not, and they have a win over West Central and Lowell. I don't think they have much to.
They wrestle. Did they wrestle Hobart? This past. Did they wrestle Hobart at all or no?
Um,
Johansson's
no,
in here.
no, they did not. They did lose the Maryville 43-26. That should be a significant result. Um, that'll be
Wednesday, I was to say, because one of the girls that plays on our softball team wrestles for Rensselaer, and she was in Hobart last week, and then she's in Hobart again this week.
yeah. They did beat Faith Christian, who is ranked in 1A. Kind of making their profile. I'm boosting their profile. So,
Come on, Hunter. We need Hunter to get on this, man.
yeah.
Um,
So they haven't wrestled anyone. They have Hobart this week. They wrestle Hobart Wednesday.
Kylie Spencer, man. Yep. She's a good player too. She's a good softball player. She's one of my committed softball players for Concordia.
So that'll be a good, a resume builder for them. So I don't know exactly where they fall. Um, so after them, you're looking at Peru. I don't think Peru's in the mix. Angola, I think they lost a couple guys. Glenn's not in the mix. You got Chittard. They took a couple losses this weekend. So you're basically saying it's Garrett, Rensselaer, and um,
Okay.
Oak Hill. So that's going to
Who
be.
is who is Oak Hill wrestled for
They
Sydney?
beat Mechaniqua, um,
They're in.
who's in, and then they were second at the Western Invite by just by 1.5 points to Western,
Wow.
who's also in. So I mean that's a tech fall pin. Yes, Garrett beat DeKalb, and it's 2T's Zachary. Before I take you to the mean streets of Garrett, right on Randolph Street, and I'll show you. But anyway, yeah. So that's not as controversial. I think Norwell has a good team. I don't know if I think they've had some guys in and out of their lineup. That's probably not helped them by any means.
I
So
see the next East Chicago semi-state representative in there would be the IndianaMat Warriors.
yes, let's see. Well, who did Norwell has? I think they have a pretty solid team. I just don't know if they've wrestled. They've taken a lot of losses. That's
Man, speaking of like old Gary high schools, man, did you see Roosevelt High School like caught fire? It was like already closed down, but dude, it's like right next to where Michael Jackson. I almost took you there one time.
yes,
Right to Michael Jackson's boyhood home, right
yeah,
next to Gary Roosevelt.
yeah. So yeah, um, Norwell lost pretty bad to Belmont. They lost to East Noble. They lost to Leo. They beat New Haven, which is a
Is River
good
Forest in the
win.
2A or in the 1A?
Uh,
They got real far down. They only had two. They had 92 points. River Forest is in there, but they're way down.
they're in 2A. So I don't know. I think the list is pretty short for 2A. So 1A, that's going to be a good one. Let's see if I have that one up.
Rochester's in.
Yes,
Coward's in.
so you got
Adams
Roch.
Central.
Yeah, North Miami has a pretty sneaky good team. You probably also can throw Wawa C in. I don't know if they're going to be in that mix where they fell. But they had two state
Wallace season
qualifiers.
2A, right?
Yeah, I thought they were.
Wallace season 2A. Yeah, they're up and they're already qualified.
Oh yeah, they're already in it. Never mind. Okay, I totally missed them in the qualification. So yeah, go ahead. The 1As.
Prairie Heights, all the old champs. Cascade is in. West Central's in. Southmont's in. They were at the Tricop this past weekend. Tell City. Let me see. Now. Bluffton's in and Tell City. So like the first team out is South Adams,
Yeah,
and they're pretty solid.
yeah, they're ranked fourth. They beat Cowan and Bluffton, two team state teams. So I would say their resume is pretty strong. They lost to Adams Central 42-36, which is better than Jay County did against Adams Central. Um, they lost to Delta, Belmont, Jay County, so they wrestled a pretty darn good schedule already.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
The next team out would be Faith Christian. Really, I've actually been really impressed with Faith Christian too.
yeah,
Um, I think they've done a lot of off-season wrestling. You see a lot of their guys in the 1A, 2A results. You see a lot of their guys at freshman, sophomore.
yeah, they beat Peru pretty handily, who is really high up there with the 2A. But Chatard, who's another one in 2A, they lost to Rensselaer. Um, let's see. They have the Twin Lakes invite this weekend. I think that's a pretty solid little invite there.
And
That
the
has
219, a 1A, Whiting, but they're pretty low.
uh, Peru's there, South Bend Riley, Twin Lakes, West Lafayette.
Hebron. Um,
So
yeah, so I think that's individual, right? It
yeah,
used to be, sure.
yeah. So they have a decent resume. Madison Grant, Rossville has a couple. They have what, two state qualifiers right now.
Yeah, they're brothers, right?
Yeah. So young guys. I don't really know. North Posey. I don't think they've had a good record so far. Um, I don't know.
Eastern Hancock has some tough guys.
Yeah, I really don't know
Seeger,
who's Seeger. Let's see.
LaVille, Triton. I mean, I think outside like the next five, and they're all pretty close. It's like 164 to like 138. Milan. Is it Milan? Milan?
Yeah.
Hickory?
So Prairie Heights, Cascades in there. Cass is
Switzerland.
eight.
Switzerland County. I know they have some really tough individuals. But a lot of guys in the East, the Evansville semi-state rankings.
Yeah. Cass is 8-4. They're 7-2 against 1A teams. They've lost to Maconaquah. They lost to North Miami. Lost to Tippecanoe Valley. I assume those are in Northfield, so they're kind of out of that. I'm looking at based on winning
I think
records or
I think what's
records.
tough is I don't know. Johansson asked about 1A teams in the region. There's just not a lot of 1A teams. Lake Station. So it's tough to get those matches, and I don't think those are teams that generally travel outside of the region, right?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, when's the last time like Whiting or Lake Station? Who else? I don't know if I don't know North Newton's area code. I don't know if it's still 219. It's like right on that brink. But I know they lost a pretty good wrestler to Rensselaer. He's currently partial eligibility. You know, there's only like 80 kids and like 300 out of 300 transfers. There's only like 80 kids that get like partial eligibility.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Madison Grant, they're 4-9 right now, so I think they would probably be out of it. I mean, they wrestled a good schedule. They wrestled at Western, where they wrestled Hamilton Heights, Harrison, Jay County, and Western. So that's four of their losses. So you can probably throw those a little bit out. But they wrestled Western twice. Wow, that's not a so yeah. Their record's a little deceiving. They've wrestled a good schedule. So I think 1A and 2A are a little bit thinner. They're not quite as many arguments other than trying to link teams together and trying to
Is
Joe
Wheeler a 1A?
Rodriguez. What do you say?
Johansson said Wheeler. Oh, Wheeler is a 1A.
Yeah, they should be a 1A. I don't know what their record is.
Wow. I didn't know. I did not know that. I thought they were 2A for some reason.
They are 2-6. Currently, they had beat North Newton, lost the Warriors of Calumet,
Tough squad, bro.
beat Clinton Prairie, lost to Delphi, Caston, West Central, and Triton, and Ileana Christian. So,
Ilya
yeah,
Christian's also a 1A.
yeah,
But their coach does have shoes that matches the shirt. It's pretty nice. He does
nice.
have some
Yes,
green and orange. I think they might be Vans.
nice. So yeah, so that's our breakdown of the vote in that will be taking place on what Sunday,
Yep.
and then
3A is gonna be, and then it's gonna be released on the Dane and Rex show.
yes.
The Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt. I'm getting better at it.
What were you
Brought
on
to you
this
by the
weekend,
Double
or
Eagle.
I haven't even gotten
Am I
invited to
gonna
be on
go?
it this year?
Man, I got what day is it on It's on Sunday. I have my team Christmas party, and then we have practice Sunday. Maybe I could go after that. What time does it start?
I don't know. It's 7ish, 6, 7. I don't know.
But this one's in like Rex's basement, right? This is not even at the. If I'm going to the Double Eagle. I gotta get on these tater tots.
Yes. Is it?
Everyone that goes on the show, either it's a running joke or they have the best tater tots in the world.
No, I think that's next weekend or something. I don't know. And I think they're at the Double Eagle this weekend. Um, yeah, I think it's the next
The New
weekend.
Year's show, I think, is at the Rex at Rex's bachelor pad.
Yeah, you can come up here. I got a nice little studio here. You can have it here.
You can find you can find all your IndianaMat show needs on Spotify in the podcast section. I listen to it
Spotify,
every.
Google, Apple, wherever you want to watch and listen to it. So,
It'll be
um,
uploaded tomorrow. I always listen to it Tuesdays at work.
yep, I will get that done tonight. This week.
We have better intro music than the Dane and Rex show.
Oh yes, very much so. Yes.
It sounds like a '70s show. Like I feel like the A Team's about to come out.
Bow chicka wow wow.
Basically, right?
That is exactly what it
I know. It's catchy. It is catchy.
it's got I mean, it's one of those things. It's like the intro music. WWE wrestlers. I mean, I think that's what plays when rec centers a building. That music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So
I like to think ours is Rage Against the Machine, but I also don't want it to be blanked out for copyright.
yeah. So Neil, check on IndianaMat. I'll post those. You'll be able to find the links. If you look for IndianaMat Guerrilla Radio on any of your podcasting needs areas, you can subscribe there. So check that out. This week in wrestling, a little bit lighter as far as like last week was like just crazy. Last 2 weeks, it was a little bit harder to find like 10 duels to kind of watch. I'll admit that.
I feel like we're coming across some doors that we didn't even know about.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, there's some good ones. Let me see. I was gonna pull them up. Okay, we got some rivalry matches. Yeah, Adam Central, New Haven. That should be a good one. New Haven might have a little bit of a case at 3A, and that should be a good.
When we go to 12, when we talk these guys into taking us to 12,
Yeah,
they're
that's
going
where
to
the
be in,
Barry
man.
Humble Golden Boot, I believe, because Barry had a lot of success at both those schools, or at least the Golden Spur. Yeah, Jay County, Norwell. Like you said, Norwell might be in the mix at 2A. Obviously, they put on Jay County. Might make that a little
Man,
more.
I feel like there's a lot of Norwell guys in the database that they're not always in their lineup.
Yeah,
So I don't know if they're mixing guys around all the time or they're just like doubling guys up.
yeah.
But
I don't think they wrestle at full strength a lot of times, and I don't know if they're just injuries or what. So the battle for Columbus East and North. You know how Columbus, like when you're in middle school, you can choose whatever high school you want to go to. There's no like designated based on where you live or whatever. There,
in Columbus,
yeah,
Well, don't let the IHSA hear that. They'll get their hands all in there.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's always. I think Columbus North kind of underrated.
yeah,
They have
yeah.
some really good wrestlers. They're really good, like 26 through like 65 maybe.
Hmm.
They're really solid. They've done a really good job.
Yeah, they have a pretty young team too. They're going to be that's going to be a sneaky good match. Obviously, it's a rivalry match. They're for the Chris. I'm just going to make things up of what they're wrestling for. It'd be cool. It's like the Madison versus Southwestern match. They battle for a paddle, like a rowing paddle, and it's like trophies like ginormous. It's never left
They're
Madison
gonna
yet.
go and battle for like supremacy at Saraland Park.
Yes, yes. The so then yeah, Lawrence North, Roncalli. Like we said, we talked about Lawrence North earlier. I think they have a pretty solid team, and they're getting better. Um,
I know they have really good coaches, and I think when you have really good coaches and you have some talented guys in there, you kind of see them growing. Sean Takers, we talked about, had a good weekend. They have Brandon Johnson. That'd be good.
yeah, they have some pretty good heavyweight coaches. If you're a heavyweight there and you're not getting better, um, you're
It's probably not a fun week for you.
yeah,
It's
probably
probably not
not a
fun
fun.
practice.
Yes, yes. Bloomington South at Floyd Central. That's going to be a
That'd be
good.
a good one.
Yeah, that should be a good one. Um,
That's the Sisson one. He's going back to his college days. He's an IU guy, right?
yeah, yes, he is. So Ken, we'll get on Al Smith soon enough. Trust me.
Oh yeah,
Um,
you're gonna hear this golden voice on the mic both days this year.
yes. 2A number 10 Rensselaer Central at Hobart. So that's going to be a good one for actually both teams because they're both kind of looking to get in the team state. So
What day is
um,
that on?
that is Wednesday.
That's Kylie can't come to our softball game because she has to go wrestle Hobart. She's trying
Mm.
to. She had a broken nose, man. She got her nose broke. She had to wear a mask.
Oh,
I said, man, that's tough. You can't be out there getting your nose broke.
yeah. On Thursday, you got North Miami at Western, 1A number 6 and 2A number 4. Uh, the 14th, New Haven at Snyder. That's going to be a good one for. I think that sectional and regional is going to be pretty interesting. And both have. It's going to be a little bit of a love loss because that's where the Ocampos made it back. So I'm sure there's going to be nice words exchanged, handshakes, Christmas cards possibly. Maybe they'll have a Christmas gift exchange.
Tendo Campos should be a good match at 6.
Yeah, yeah, that should be a good one. Then Crown Point, Lake Central.
That I feel like there's some good rivalry going on there.
Yeah,
Like I feel like there's a little bit of heat going with Lake Central and Crown Point a little bit. I know last year they were upset because they weren't confined to the corner. Like they were kind of this on the side. I think there's some of that going on, and
oh boy.
I think there's been some act. They've been accused of taking some of their guys. Bloomington and Floyd's gonna be the rage on the stage. I like that.
Oh, that's always a good event. I know they usually stream it. Craig, you should go stream that one. That we have good streaming, not someone's cell phone from the 25th row.
CP Lake Central is Wednesday. That'll be a good duel. I think there's gonna be some good matches in there. You have Sonny Sessa, Guillermo Rivera, Tegan Newell, Mason Jones, possibly.
That should be a good one. Good test of where Newell is. Um, Cathedral Chittard. Oh yes. Um,
Nice.
you know
Uh,
the battle
like
for.
we talked about it. Zach Mello wrestling at he's at Qatar now. We talked about him giving out. Was it Zach? Who did we say was giving out advice
Um,
on Twitter? I forgot. I think it was Zach.
Was it?
I was giving financial advice.
Oh, I'm not sure. I can't remember. Was it?
Yeah,
Him? Yeah.
Zach. He's coaching at Chatard, so he had messaged me the day after. He said he gave a shout out. I said, man, if people want free, advice on their financials, they need to go hit you up, man.
Yeah. So Friday, Zionsville at Cathedral. That should be a good one. And then our tournament.
Here's Zach Mello's tweet from today. You want a good money tip? The Panera Unlimited Sip Club is $11.99 a month. You can stop it every morning and get an iced coffee. It's 54 cents per iced coffee. So tell you, my guy's handing out gems if you want to get coffee.
Nice. So the weekend events should be some good ones. Johnson County Some
Correction, Zach, we'll see multiple female champs this year at the girls' regional for the Al Smith.
oh
Not Al
yeah,
Smith champs, but there'll be
ooh,
champs there.
that's gonna be interesting. Well, I guess New
Parking's
Haven's
not
not at
great
Al
there.
Smith, so
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we need to get some better parking at Mishawaka High School.
oh, that's gonna be yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a fun weekend of wrestling at Mishawaka. Um, so yeah, tournaments this weekend. Tournaments, super duels. Johnson County. You'll have Center Grove, Franklin Community. I believe those are all duels. There's like 4 teams there. And the New Haven 10-way, which rotates with Yorktown. You'll have Adams Central, Avon, and Prairie Heights. Let me
That'd be
see.
fun. Avon coming up there. Coach
Yeah,
John's
they extended
expanding.
the
Like they went,
260.
yeah, they went all the way down to Evansville. Now they're going out to the Fort Wayne area. Love
Yeah.
it.
You got Bluffton there. I think Bluffton's at Team State. Mechanicsburg's at Team State. You got New Haven there. Yorktown has some good kids, so that's gonna be a good day of wrestling there in New Haven. The John McKee at Rochester. You're gonna have Cowan, Hamilton Heights, North Miami, Rochester. It's always a real good small school tournament. See who else is there that might have some Eastern Greentown, Rochester. Sure, I said Rochester, so there should be some good teams there. Um, the next one would be Marion County.
Marion,
That's
Marion
gonna be a
County's
good
pretty
one.
good.
That's always a big one to kind of tell what some of the county teams. You got Perry, Roncalli, Warren. You got Beach Grove, Ben Davis, Franklin Central, Lawrence North's gonna be there. North Central. So Southport. That's gonna be a good tournament. Henry Wilk, we talked about that. Columbus North's going to be there. Snyder, John Glenn, Homestead, Mishawaka, Penn, Goshen, and New Pal. And then the Kyle Osborne, Carmel's there. Harrison, McCutcheon, North Posey, Northview, and Western. So that's going to be a good mixture of some bigger and smaller schools. Uh, we'll talk about that second one last. The Columbus East Championships. You'll have Columbus East, Terre Haute South, Lebanon, Madison, Monrovia was in the rankings for a little bit. Switzerland County has some good kids there, so that should be a good event. And then where we will, at least I will be, I believe you'll be there also, the
Yep.
Carnahan. We have not talked about that yet. Um,
Nope.
Crown Point, Brownsburg, and a bunch of really good teams.
Yeah. Crown Point, Brownsburg, only Indiana teams,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then Arrowhead, Wisconsin, which is where Ben Askren's at, or his school's at.
Yeah.
Bishop McCourt, who just where Bo Bassett's from. I was part of a conversation that they said that if they come there, they want to get a first round bye. They want to get as many matches as they can. So even if they're one seed, they want to have someone to wrestle. So those guys are coming to wrestle.
Yeah.
Bishop Watterson in Ohio, Brownsburg, Cleveland, Tennessee, Crown Point, Davison, Michigan, Dundee, Michigan, Homewood, Flossmoor, Joliet Central Catholic, Lakeshore, which is in Michigan also, Marmion Academy, Mount Carmel, Springboro, Ohio, and St. Paris Graham.
Yeah. Mount Carmel, let's see this. According to Josh Lowe, Bishop McCourt, Brownsburg, Mount Carmel, uh, Joliet Catholic, Lowell, Michigan, Dundee, Michigan, Graham, and Crown Point are all in the national rankings. And then
So 8.
Springborough's pretty good, and Bishop Watterson has um, some good wrestlers from what he told me this weekend. So learned a lot about the Ohio classification system and stuff, and he was like amazed that we were talking about like school size. He's like, "What's the biggest school?" I go, Carmel is like, how many kids are there? I go, 5,000. He's like, what? 5,000? I go, yeah. He's like, that's a town.
Bro, I feel like some of the schools in Illinois, I feel like are huge.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh man, like that school is way bigger than any of the schools in Indiana.
Yeah. I'm sure like you know by Chicago there's some really ginormous schools, but then after that it's like all real small.
Well, I feel like Naperville, like in all those schools, they start splitting them up. But man, there are some really big schools also.
Yeah, he said that they there's the Olentangy area has like four schools at like 1,000 to 1,500. So like they're basically Carmel size, but they split them. They keep splitting them instead of just making mega schools. So so yeah, that's gonna be a so that's gonna be a good event. We're gonna be there. Might try to do some video work. We're talking to some people. That'd be cool. So when we find out what we find out, we'll let you know. So yeah, that's gonna be a good day. That's gonna be some good wrestling. Hopefully, hey, that's gonna be huge for team state seating, possibly for 1 and 2. I think
Yeah.
those. I mean, Brownsburg did jump Crown Point in the national rankings. I'm guess. I mean, I don't think they have enough data to kind of jump them in our state team rankings. Obviously, things are a little bit closer there. So that should be interesting to see how that plays out. If they can get some commons or some head to heads.
Oh, I'm sure that you'll have a way better chance to get more head to heads just because you're going to have way less teams. You're not going to have the 160 something teams, right?
Yeah.
Is Cleveland, Ohio, or Tennessee the only Tennessee team there?
Yes.
They're the number one ranked team in Tennessee.
Yeah, they're a pretty good team. They have a pretty good. I think they were at. Oh, were they at the Ironman? I believe they were at the Ironman.
I was just
Um,
on the Tennessee. Uh, in case you guys are wondering, it's not as easy to navigate as IndianaMat.
yes. No, they were not. Unless they were something else. I thought I saw a Tennessee team there. They might have been.
The Wisconsin ranking site pretty good, ran by former IndianaMat rankings Newcastle guru.
Yes. So yeah.
Cleveland, Cleveland, Tennessee has the number one ranked wrestler at 106, the number one at 113, the number two at 126, the number two at 138, the number two at 150, the number one at 165,
Father
the
Ryan
number
and
one,
Baylor was also there. That's who I was thinking of.
the number one at 215, Lucas Samborski, who it used to be like a Crown Point resident.
Yeah, that'd be. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that he wrestled for them. I'm sure.
And then number two at 285. So a lot of highly ranked Tennessee guys.
Oh, so his grandma's gonna be there, being back. She's gonna like revert back. She was an old board person, and she was
Clive, right?
crazy. Yeah, Clive. Yep. Oh, Clive's gonna make a return. Oh my, this is good. She and Nons and all the crazy Crown Point parents were threatening to crash my wedding because they found out it was going to be that's how old that is. Yeah, Indiana. All the
I know. Someone saw. I got a screenshot of that.
oh jeez.
Man, I wouldn't even go that far. That's like ruler foods, man. That I wouldn't even say that's Aldi. Aldi has some licks, man. Aldi has some good stuff.
Probably more of a
They have these
save a
like
lot.
there's like between like Andrean and between Andrean and Maryville, there's a grocery store called Ruler Foods. I've never been in there, but I'm incredibly interested to know how they sell their food.
uh,
Hockaday Gibson at Ironman was awesome. Like I said, I think I said at the beginning, like watch Flo, watch the final like minute of the third period. I think everyone's gonna agree with what we do. Like I think Jake should have had two near fall. I thought he should have won that match outright. And then when it went to overtime, the scrambles were crazy.
yeah, yeah. It was like 7-5, I think. It was a good match. Jake's really talented. Those two having them. Hopefully, we get to see another match of them this weekend. It's going to be fun. Um, so they both wrestle a very similar style, and they're not afraid to get after it and try some crazy things, cartwheels and duck unders and all sorts of things. So it's going to be interesting who makes an adjustment if they wrestle, and see if see if we have a very similar match. So yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited for that the tournament there. 16 pretty tough teams.
I'm
So
excited that they added Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel has a ton of Indiana guys. I thought they had a pretty solid Ironman. Also, obviously they have Seth Mendoza. He's really good. Evan Stanley's good. So maybe we get Evan Stanley, Jake Hockaday, and then mix with Mason Gibson, the kid that Evan was beating. That he ended up getting pinned by. That's going to Iowa. Had like a 1-0 match with Mason Gibson. So
yeah, they have Justin Williamson at 13. He went 1-2.
we can
Still
have a Hobart Showdown, man. I'm going to petition for that first match. The Hobart Showdown, Gavin Lewis, Justin Williamson.
nice.
For rights to who gets first in line at Lincoln's.
Nice. Lucas Sertzis, Munster kid. Mendoza, he placed third. He's really good at 126.
Really good.
Um,
I think we said it before, but if you want to really like see something that's really crazy, really cool, go watch the War Makers. It's like Mendoza's dad's in there. He's like a hero.
yeah,
It's a pretty cool story. It's a History Channel show.
yeah, it's really he's pretty well accomplished in giving us lots
Like,
of nice things,
yeah,
freedoms.
uh, for our freedoms. Yep.
uh,
Mike Mendoza. It's a really cool. Like obviously they did a really good job on the show, but it kind of shows you the type of human he is.
yeah,
Um, Evan Stanley at 32, Lowell kid.
Damien Resendez, 38. He's a Crown Point kid.
Yep. So
Yari
sometimes they bring other kids in. Sometimes they lose kids too.
Yari Acuna. He's Portage.
His brother's at Portage. I think he's a Wheeler District kid. I thought he wrestled pretty well.
Yeah, he won 3 matches there. He was one from making the second day. Liam Kelly, I don't think he's as good as his brother, but he's still pretty solid. Eddie
Yeah.
Enright is
He had a really good tournament too.
yeah, Eddie Enright's pretty good. He beat Stitz, lost to August Sanye from Blair Academy in the blood round. I don't know who their 65 pounder. Colin Kelly, he's pretty good. He got second um, at 175.
Was he
Ryland,
IHGO champ too?
yes, I believe so. Ryland Breen is pretty good at 190. He was he was 3-2. Lost in the blood round, I think. Blood round or right before the blood round. Their heavyweight and 220s did not win any matches, so they're pretty tough.
Yeah, I think like getting them in there is pretty cool. Obviously, a good amount of Illinois teams, some Michigan teams, a lot of Ohio teams, a couple PA teams, Wisconsin teams. I try to get Zach in there. Um, I try to get. I know like they had something, and for 2 years I tried to get Zach to come up. Try to get him back in Indiana. The first time I sent him the list of teams, he was like, "This isn't real." I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, and this is like, and then where's this at? I was like, "It's at Crown Point." He's like, "I'm sending it to my coach, our head coach." He's like, "Oh, I think they're in like that Minnesota Force. What is it? The Minnesota like it's a Minnesota holiday tournament."
Yeah.
And then it got tougher. And then I said, Bishop McCourt's in. And he's like, "You're lying." He's like, "I'm not taking to him again." So I think they're trying to break their contract and get in, but trying to get all the Indiana guys back. Sertis is back now. Let's get Zach back. Simborski's coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, should be good. I'm excited. It'll be a good day of wrestling. I'll be getting over there in the afternoon, for the good stuff. I'm not going to watch the first couple rounds. So, yeah, should be another great, that event used to be Crown Point versus the World.
Yeah, it used
And
to be like Crown Point, Knox, Hebron, Lake Station, I believe, was in there.
Lafayette Jeff.
Lafayette Jeff.
Yeah. And just in 2 or 3 years, it's like, whoa, and it's gonna be pretty good. And if Mount Carmel's coming there, that means something because Alex does not. He wants to push his kids as far as possible because they have
Oh, yeah.
an absolutely brutal schedule.
Yeah, well, they went Donnybrook, Ironman, Carnahan now.
Yeah, who is? Yeah, they're pretty. they don't mess around. This will be a short drive for them. I'm sure that like, hey, we don't have to be too crazy with driving this weekend, and we're
Do
an
you
hour
think they're gonna
away.
make Resendez drive to Mount Carmel, get in the bus, and then come back to Crown Point? Like
Probably.
Stanley has to go past there. Can he just come from Lowell?
Yeah. I'm sure they can work something.
Uh,
It's a private school. They can probably do whatever they want.
is
So
Legacy Christian not in this year? I don't see
no,
him on the list.
no, I do not believe so. They got on track Watterson, Arrowhead, Cleveland, Tennessee, Davison, Dundee, Homewood, Flossmoor, Joliet Catholic, Lakeshore, Michigan, not Indiana, as it says, Mary Marmium, Mount Carmel, Springboro, and Graham. So should be a good day of wrestling. I'm kind of curious to see how the brackets sort out, and hopefully we don't have any like rematches from last week until the good times. So, whew, I knew that was gonna be a long one. Any
Yeah, that,
anything else you want to talk about?
let me look at my jotted down notes before we start it. No results, mix ups. Nope, that was it, man. That's all I had. Three things written down.
Yep. So it's gonna be another good week of wrestling. We will, um, yeah, we'll be back next week. Lots to talk about because we'll have teams finalized. Then we can start telling everyone um,
They
how to
they
seed.
needed Rick Beanos. That that's a messy sandwich, man. They need to bring it for everybody.
Nice.
They told me that you're not getting it for free, Joe. They told me you're Brownsburg. They have too much Brownsburg love.
Oh, jeez, man, that's rough. I guess I don't know. I don't know what. I guess I'll pay.
I'll sneak some tacos from the hospitality room for
Oh,
you.
you're gonna get. Yeah, they're not gonna give me hospitality either. Wow, man.
I don't know, man. Let's see.
We'll see. I guess hopefully talking them up here early today. I smoothed it over.
Yeah, I think that right now it's just real tense because it's getting tight, and I think those three teams are really close.
Yeah,
I always say it's funny that the Brownsburg guys say I'm a Crown Point like sympathizer. The Crown Point guys say I'm a Brownsburg sympathizer. And I think both of those guys think that I'm a Center Grove sympathizer. But Center Grove thinks I like everyone but them. like,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. It goes. It's gonna be interesting to see. I think it's gonna be fun to watch those guys go at it. You'll see Crown Point and Center Grove hit up a little bit in a few weeks at Al Smith. So that's going to be fun. You're going to get some, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a fun few weeks, and it's good to see that all these teams are hitting each other. And
I
it's
mean, as Al Smith, you're going to throw in the mix. You're going to throw in Warren Central, who has some really, really good individuals.
yes, yeah. Warren Central
Sleeper.
we haven't talked about, and they're
Enough, for
really good.
sure.
Once they have about it's a typical Warren Central thing is that they have like four like super studs all at like one weight class basically. So they got to
Yeah, I
spread
feel
them
like
out.
all that they have like five guys that are really good at 65.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yes. Yeah, and they have to spread they did that a couple years ago. It was like at 132 or 26, wasn't it? That
yeah,
they just had like three or four really good guys. So you knew someone had to cut, someone had to go up, someone got to wrestle the real weight. It's like, geez. I mean, if they could just get their guys to spread out a little bit more, it'd be better for them. But yeah, so they're tough. It's gonna be interesting to see a couple of their guys. They've seen some good competition obviously already. They were at Cathedral, so excited to see what they bring to the table. They'll be at Marion County, so that's gonna be a good test for them. Get a little bit of a preview of what they have against some of the indie area teams. So yeah, it's gonna be Alsmith's gonna be crazy. We'll spend a whole show talking about it and everything. So
all right.
so anyway, we will be back next week and have a good week, and we'll see you around.
See ya.